maybe if I lift this arm up more, it'll offset my pastiness, right?
It's just the void we're on, you know.
It's the contrast with the black background.
Yeah, that too probably doesn't help. And this guy's like in the sun all the time. And he still looks pasty.
How you guys going? How you guys going? How you guys doing?
Good.
Welcome to Lorehammer.
Welcome to Lorehammer. I guess we're live. We just did it like this time. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I think we get picked up on that.
Okay.
Welcome to Lorehammer, the podcast where we just yammer talk about 40K. Today we have our favorite topic of all time. You know, I've been seeing the comments. I said I'm doing a Tau episode. The hype is real. People love space communism, I've been told. Today on the show we got James. Welcome.
I'm always here. I'm always ready for complaints. I'm always ready to butcher the things you love.
Yeah.
Welcome to Lorehammer.
Welcome. No Christian this week, but like we can praise whatever gods we serve because he had a kid. So he's up to 4 kids now. So Dad Hammer is going strong.
Yeah.
He's put it in the work, put it in the foundation, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so he's not here this week. He'll be joining us next week. But instead, we got 2 other people. Ria, welcome back. Been a minute.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I'm stoked to see you guys again.
Yeah.
On the show.
Yeah, it was funny. Like people were saying, yeah, I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time. But people who listen to the podcast, it could be no time has passed since the 2-year hiatus. But
yeah, if it's
I'm
the
happy.
new listeners, I guess.
Yeah.
Going back from the start.
Our resident Tau guy, welcome back. Ready to...
It's only because he looks like a Tau.
Yeah.
He's got that signature forehead slit.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know how he got that, but it's there.
Yeah.
You can check out the Patreon live stream to check out this beautiful slit.
That's right.
And we also got Skylar. Hey, man, what's good?
Woo!
Yeah,
I'm
you,
good.
yeah. One of our favorite people to have on, honestly. Like you're one of our first people that listened, and I remember you gave us. Okay, one of my favorite episodes was
I appreciate you.
the Imperial Church episode, the Ecclesiarchy
Okay.
episode, and you were on that one, and you were hyping us up.
I can't remember.
Just know we made a lot of dirty jokes together.
Yeah, for sure.
So-
we always do.
So it was a
And
good
it's
time.
hilarious. Yeah.
Well, we got a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the Tau stuff. I'll just dive into that. Next week on September 6th, we will be in Edmonton doing a tournament, doing a charity event. It's not run by us. We just got a booth and we got an invite there. So if you want to go check us out at Edmonton in Taps Games on the 6th, so next week. There's information in the show notes. That's probably the best way to check it out. You can buy tickets and stuff. Once again, just check out the show notes. Check out the show notes. It's not my event. So next week, though, September 6th, I mean. Also, we do have a Discord. That's been a lot of fun. That's been bumping and active. We've been doing the Warlords of Terra Magic, the Magic contest on there, doing pairing off warlords, people's lore against each other. I think they just finished that up, and now we're going to be doing some reading of that lore on listener lore. So that would be pretty cool. Also, if you want to buy dice, I'm trying to get a dice order together. I've got maybe a handful of people who reached out saying they're interested. But if you're interested, reach out to lorehammerpodcast@gmail.com or on Discord or Facebook, Instagram, and just let me know that you're interested in buying some dice, and we'll
Or the
try
website, that works too.
or the website, lorehammerpodcast.com. Anywhere you kind of can get a hold of us, reach out and we'll try to set up some dice.
Cool. So the live stream is every other week. We have the episode. We want you to join in, jump in the chat, tell us all about your lives, comment on the episode as it's going on, ask questions. It's actually adds a lot to it. I think that people can interact and say what they want to say.
Yeah, the chat is bumping right now. There's a lot of people in there just shitting on the towel.
This is new. I like back when I was on the show before, you never had the live.
No. Yeah,
It's fun. It's fun. It's fun. So just join up on Patreon and get right in there.
Sweet.
Yeah, we have a calling guest at the end of the episode too, which is a fun little bit that we do.
It really keeps you on your toe.
Yeah, I know. You never know what they're gonna say.
Just somebody from Discord, or
Yeah, it's just something that's on the Patreon.
Okay.
So join up to do that. We'd love it if you guys would give us like a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, a like if you want. If you could give us a 5-star review on wherever you're watching us from, that'd be great. Helps out spread it so that more people can watch. Yeah, we have the YouTube and we have the podcast, so check it out, whatever you like best.
Yeah, audio or video. Soon we'll get the brain link and I can be in your mind, but we're not there technologically, but one day, I promise you, my sweet children.
through space communism.
Through
We
space-
we will get mind to mind.
We will
The
become one.
Ethereals will tell you.
Yes,
and you
yes.
will enjoy it.
Exactly.
I can't wait. Well,
Uh,
space comp. Well, maybe I'll shout out Patreon. Yeah, jump into Patreon, throw us a buck. That's always super cool. At the end of the show, I'll talk a little bit more about Patreon shit and say thank you to people who donated. But let's jump into Tau. We're doing a space fleet episode. Where we left off in our journey with the Tau was basically we were going through all the different spheres of expansion, and each one was more glorious and just uplifting than the last,
Yes.
really.
And
New
more
hope-
consequential.
More consequential. Each time more hope was brought to the galaxy and everything was made a better place. So we progressed all the way up through the fourth one. I don't remember really doing the fourth and the fifth, to be honest with you, but I remember there's demons that happened, and that was a whole adventure. If you want to go read or listen to that episode and get a little catch me up, it's episode 96. That's kind of where we left them last. So I was kind of thinking, where do we go from here? There's no sixth sphere, but we should talk about the Tau's space fleet. They got a bunch of different types of ships or orbitals. They have Xenos auxiliaries. There's a bunch of different stuff going on with them. Even the way they travel the galaxy is different than other people. So we're going to dive into all that kind of stuff.
Oh, and our favorite part of Tau is just pronouncing all the things. So,
Yeah,
so
that is
here we
true.
go. Let's jump right in.
I do like pronouncing alien words because it's like, tell me I pronounced it wrong.
I know, exactly. But you're also the best at pronouncing things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I got some feedback on the accent I tried to roll out last episode. They did not like it. They did not like it. They said,
That sounds like a perfect use of the James complaints at gmail.com.
yeah, James complaints at gmail.com.
Oh yeah, it's a real.
So the Tau protection fleet, or the Kor'vattra. In the cold void of space, the Kor'vattra, the Tau protection fleet, cuts through the darkness with purpose and precision, a testament to the Tau's empire's unwavering pursuit of the greater good. In the language of the Tau, Kor'vattra signifies more than just a fleet. It is the shield and the spearhead of a rising star empire. While the young in the vast history of the galaxy's starfaring races, the Tau have rapidly forged a formidable force, blending sophisticated technology with an idealistic drive for unity and expansion. Crewed exclusively by the aircast, the fleet's sleek vessels guide in disciplined formations. My phone's vibrating in my pocket. It's turning me, doing something to me, throwing me off. Each movement, a seamless dance guided by pure efficiency. Every ship from this. Skylar's telling me it's him touching my leg. Every ship, from the smallest escort to the mightiest capital vessel, is a link in the Tau's vision of a unified cosmos. But beyond the Kor'vattra lies the heart of the Tau commerce, the merchant fleet, a network of vessels dedicated to spreading the greater good through trade and diplomacy across the stars. Yet for all their innovation, the Tau are still children in the depths of space compared to the ancient species that haunt the galaxy's shadowed corridors. Unlike the Imperium lumbering behemoths, Tau ships do not tear through the warp, a dark, dangerous realm that remains mysterious and largely inaccessible to the Tau. They lack the psychic potential required to harness the Imperium and navigate its perilous tides. Instead, they rely on the brilliance of the aircast engineers and the revolutionary ZFR Horizon Accelerator engine. The ZFR drive, a marvel of Tau ingenuity, propels their ships at velocities nearing speed of light, slicing through the starry expanse with elegant precision. It was this technological leap that fueled the Tau's rapid expanse during the Tau's second sphere, pushing their boundaries of the Empire far beyond their original cradle. Now the Kor'vattra stands as a bulwark against the ever-looming threats of the galaxy teetering on the edge of annihilation. Beneath the optimism of the greater good lies a quiet determination, a steely resolve that drives the Tau forward, even in the face of unimaginable horrors. The Kor'vattra moves to intercept foes lurking in the darkness. Every pulse of their engine hums with the hopes of a brighter future, one where the Tau Empire's light may one day pierce even the darkest of galaxy corners. Yeah, so that's very optimistic and pretty dumb. I love reading the Tau. Just like we get super fake and gay. I don't like it.
Yeah, it is. Like space.
Yeah, it's not even real. First of all, flat Earth. No,
I didn't say that. You
no.
said that.
Well, you can just observe that. It's observable.
Ah,
Yeah. No,
we're doing this already. Oh
the
man.
Tau, it's just I read through it. It's like, oh, so they can almost go the speed of the light. Great. Great. Oh, so they've expanded out of their part of the galaxy, like what, 7 light years?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it's the tower just always going to be a minor Xenos. We were saying beforehand that this should be a minor Xenos episode.
Yeah. Relabel it.
Yeah.
At the end of the episode, I do have maybe some thoughts on how we could change the Tau slightly, but we'll carry on. Yeah, there's some cool stuff. Like, I do love the technology, but it seems like they advance and then they stop, essentially, and then they stagnate, and then
Because you can't keep advancing forever.
no.
You gotta eventually like stop. Otherwise, the game would just get broken.
Right.
So,
+1 to hit on everything, +1 to wound on railguns. It's
well,
perfect.
even not even that. Just like that, it would change the lore. If the Tau were able to expand across the whole galaxy, then it would just be Tau Fest everywhere, because everything would join them and everything would. So they have to have limitations.
Sure. I want to see weebs everywhere. I think the more that we can get our hands on to strangle, let me finish my sentence of violence. The Imperium wishes we had more enemies like that we could just quash underfoot. So I hope they spread like the infestation they are.
All right. Complaints@gmail.com. Well, in the realm of space travel, let's go to the people who are like doing this space travel, the Aircast. So the Aircast, or Core, as they are known within the Tau lexicon, are a spectral presence in the vast reaches of the Tau Empire. Once more messengers, they now pilot the Empire's vessels in both the Kor'vattra, the military shield of the greater good, and the sprawling Tau merchant fleet. They are the silent lifeblood of Tau expansion, drifting through the void as both warriors and traders, bearing the aspirations of their people on the wings of their ships. So these guys are like, they're the ones that are actually going around delivering all the cargo, all the armies, defensive fleets. They're in charge of all of that. Unlike the grounded Firecast, who fight in the mud and the blood of distant worlds, or the diplomatic Watercast, who weave intricate negotiations in distant embassies, the Aircast dwell almost exclusively beyond the pull of planetary gravity. Generations spent in low-gravity environments have sculpted their forms into something eerily elegant yet fragile. Long, slender limbs, delicate bones, and an ethereal lightness that gives them an almost ghostly appearance. Their frames lack the brute strength of the earthbound kin, a compromise for their fluid grace needed to maneuver with the weightless expanse of their home deep space. This did make me wonder, like, when they're piloting a craft and it goes into gravity and then they feel gravity, do they need like anti-gravity in their cockpits to like, I don't think that would be anywhere, but that would seem like if they have evolved to live in low gravity and then they just go land on whatever the normal gravity of most planets, wouldn't they just be like, holy smokes, I can't move now, like lifting to like man the controls,
or even
so
just
difficult.
like blood flow, like your heart probably doesn't have to pump as hard on low gravity.
So they're just like, oh my god, I'm dying.
Yeah.
So they probably do have to, like, this is unofficial lore because I don't think they would put that in somewhere, but they must have like anti-gravity in their,
the opposite of
which then means
dam.
why wouldn't they do that in their ships then if they already have that technology, just make everything so that the gravity is the same everywhere.
Yeah, you do see like Tau Aircast walking around like with other people, and like they can walk around, but they look much like, they look so alien and like uncomfortable looking.
So
basically they can.
That really reminds me of the Expanse. If anyone, I know, sorry, it's a totally different universe.
This is 40K.
yeah, I know. But that's exactly how they describe the different factions, like the space-faring factions, the low-gravity factions. They're taller, spindlier humans. They can't interact on planets, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
even
that's
like
a really good point, actually.
Like the Leagues
Quit
of Gotan.
putting holes in the lore. You're just putting holes in.
No, I'm trying to
holes.
understand. Okay, I'm a student.
I'm a student.
The Aircast appearance is a distant echo of a darker time in Tau history when they glided on membranous wings during the chaotic Mont-O era. While these wings have long since withered into vestigial remnants, there remains an otherworldly quality to them, as if they carry a memory of their ancestral skies within their bones. This evolutionary quirk only reinforces their image as the invisible caste, rarely encountered by outsiders. For most beings, the aircast are merely distant streaks of light as their craft dance across the heavens, or disembodied voices transmitting from far-off vessels. So the core are far from defenseless. Despite their frail forms, they possess advantages uniquely suited to their high-speed dogfights and precision maneuvers that define void warfare. Their superior depth perception and high tolerance for rapid acceleration grant them an edge against lumbering human pilots of their aeronautica. Yet, for all their natural talents, they lack the hardened experience of veteran Imperial fighter aces who have been forced in countless brutal engagements. Are they just like, they don't have to do it as often? I imagine that is relative to the sphere, right?
Yeah. They would also have like a lot of like tech too, like drone tech to really help them out in warfare. So like,
Sure.
They have a lot of drone fighters essentially, just
Sure.
like they have drones. So even that, they don't have to necessarily always be battling. And
Right.
yeah, imagine you're fighting one aircraft pilot, but that guy has a fleet of drones with him. Like,
Sure.
Warfare nowadays is crazy with drones. So like, just imagine how wild it'd get
The science fiction universe.
in a science fiction universe with drones. Like,
Dude, I think that there should, this is a slight deviation, but that's what we do. I think that in a few years, people will have personal drone swarms.
yeah,
Imagine
it's
like
possible,
you'll walk
yeah.
around and they'll just like swarm around you, and like they could, like, if someone were to attack someone, they'd like form like in
A
front
shield?
of that. Yeah. Dude,
Cool.
that'll come.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Or like, what if you were trying to hide from the paparazzi? Like, you're a Tau
and they just
celebrity.
like block it all.
Yeah, they just, all the drones form a wall.
Have you guys seen that Russian oligarchs like super mega yacht where you can't take pictures of it and stuff? Like,
No.
yeah, like the
Yeah, 'cause
side camera,
it
like
screws up the light. Yeah,
Yeah.
capture, you
Oh,
can't
wow.
see
so
it.
you can't take pictures because the technology will like blind the camera or whatever, however
And
they
that's-
do it.
And that's speaking of deviation. That's civilian technology now.
Yeah, man.
Sure, it's billionaires.
So what did the Tau
But-
got going?
What
Yeah,
is that?
exactly. Exactly.
To be fair, they do have cell suits, so
Yeah.
they
Oh,
do have the
there you
ability to just cloak things.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Interesting. All right. So the battle plans of the Tau Empire are masterworks of holistic design, intricate tapestries of precision and foresight that stretch across entire battlefields. At the heart of these strategies lies a fundamental principle: the establishment of total air superiority. This vital task falls to the daring and devoted pilots of the aircast who take to the skies with disciplined grace and unwavering dedication to the greater good. When the Firecast marches to war, it does so beneath a shield of aircast fighters and bombers. These aerial squadrons are not mere support units, but integral components of the Tau's combat doctrine. Each engagement is a symphony of coordination orchestrated by centralized coalition command elements. From the heavens above, aircast craft weave seamlessly with ground forces, ensuring that Firecast cadres can advance without fear of enemy strikes. Every swooping dive and bombing run is part of a larger plan, carefully aligned to the grand strategy that guides the Tau's expansion across the stars. Nearly every Tau campaign begins with thunderous deployment of aircast forces. Razor-edged formations of razor sharks, strike fighters streak through the sky, executing rapid shifts between aerial dogfights and surgical ground assaults. Whether it's the scouring the air of bioengineered monstrosities or obliterating armored columns with precision fire, the razor sharks are relentless in their pursuit of tactical dominance. While the skies crackle with energy beams and missile trails, Sunshark bombers dive low, unleashing torrents of energized ordnance on critical enemy infrastructure. Airfields are torn apart, command centers reduced to smoldering rubble, and anti-aircraft emplacements silenced in fiery blooms, all to prepare the battlefield for the Firecast's decisive thrust.
One thing I was kind of like trying to decipher when writing through some notes and stuff, like when we know about the Firecast and their like battle tactics, they have like the Kion and the Monta, like the killing blow and the ambush. I forget what they translate to, but it was interesting reading this. Like, so the
wait, hold on a second. How do you remember the Tau version but not the English version?
Listen,
Explain that to me.
I also am a master at Spanish. I'm a master of languages except English.
Get outta here.
Yeah, get out of here. No, but it, like, so the Firecast, they're their own thing than the Aircast. And it seems like even in war, the only other people that do warfare is the Aircast members. But they have a different approach to warfare than the Firecast. Like, I don't think they do the same ambushes or the same Monka, these two main strategies, it seems like they just overwhelm and like they coordinate and overwhelm every time.
Right.
It doesn't seem like they're setting traps necessarily. This seems like they're a hammer, essentially.
Just sort of light it up
Yeah.
before the ground forces kind of come in after.
Yeah, and then whatever they choose to do with it, that's up to them. But yeah, they're just like mass force, and that's their goal.
Is it like, is this a reference to like American military strategy? Because like the American military strategy is shock and awe, right? Or at least that was what it was in Iraq.
I don't know
So,
much
like,
about Tau and
so
space communism and weebs and
So, like,
Japan and mech warriors, but I think that, no, their war analogy is closer to that direction of.
all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I just know like that seems to be like the U.S. strategy was always like lots of airstrip superiority, blow everything up, and then send your army in. But so maybe they're like Japanese American hybrids.
Well, okay, no, let's go crazy with it. Let's talk about the Japanese Air Force, because wouldn't that be what these guys kind of?
I guess, but I don't think they come across that way.
No, I don't either.
That like the robots definitely have the Japanese feel, but like I don't know. If
Now, when you say Japanese feel, what exactly do you mean by that?
This is a family-friendly stream. I will not tell you anything about it.
Yeah.
All right, well, to continue. Aircast pilots are paragons of selflessness, braving the most harrowing conditions in pursuit of their objectives. They thread their way through the churning tendrils of Tyranid bioships or barrel into the gauntlet of Imperial Space Marine flak with a calm acceptance of the risks they bear. Every pilot knows that their sacrifice, should it come, serves the greater good. A death with purpose, not in vain.
Oh, so beautiful.
However, their senseless martyrdom has no place in Tau doctrine. Senseless martyrdom has no place in Tau doctrine. Unlike some races that throw lives away for the hollow displays of heroism, the Tau believe in precision and purpose. Aircast pilots are entrusted with the autonomy to disengage if a situation spirals beyond recovery. Tactical retreats are neither shameful nor cowardly, but a calculated decision to preserve strength for a future strike. Tau commanders place immense trust in the judgment of their flight crews, relying on the seasoned wisdom gained from countless sorties.
So that would seem to be they intentionally said this is not the Japanese Air Force.
Seems very clear they drew a line there.
We do not want you to think that's what these are.
Also, that's
GW.
quite different from, I imagine, like Imperial pilots, right? Like, I don't imagine that they're allowed to just retreat if they feel like, you know.
Well, they're allowed to retreat. They just have to get the order to.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So they like it's not because it's not like I don't know any race in 40K that is just like, oh yeah, and maybe orcs would have like kamikaze runs. Or like demons, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, but most of
even
them
then,
are
a
like
demon engine wouldn't, because like the demons are almost like arrogant. They like, I'm too valuable to be.
Tau would, I mean, Tyranids would be the one that's like just
Sure.
like completely like.
But I don't. Kamikaze run doesn't even make the same. It doesn't. It's not the same thing in it for a Tyranid. It's like that's just. It's a bomb that is alive.
Yeah, true.
You fulfilled your purpose by exploding yourself. Well,
that's what you were made for. Yeah.
But by this, does it mean that like if a situation is like too hairy, they can just be like, oh no, I'm gonna save this ship for another.
I think so, man. Like, I think they're not like trying to sacrifice themselves. Really, they have drones and stuff that can do all that kind of stuff, and like
they're soft, is what you're saying.
They're soft, yeah. And here's the other thing that I think about the Aircast too. Just we're kind of talking about they're not Firecast.
Right.
They're not the warrior cast of this race. So.
Right. So the idea is they're like, oh yeah, we'll come in and bomb everything, but we're not soldiers.
Yeah, we're not sticking around when the fighting gets crazy. Like, unless we have overwhelming force. But that's kind of how I'd see that play.
Which is funny to your point. Is kind of how the Army views the Air Force, anyways, in real life. So
it is the U.S.
I think that's in every country, though. I think every country's army views the Air Force that way. Like, we're just gonna get out when we feel a little scared.
The glory boys.
Yeah.
It does read kind of strange though for like a military force. It sounds more so that they have some autonomy rather than just they have to follow orders from the top.
Yeah, well, I think it just comes back to that they're not military.
Well, if you're
civilian.
brainwashed so effectively, like the Tau are, maybe you don't need to. Like the Ethereals aren't worried about them retreating when they're not supposed to.
Right.
Yeah, I suppose.
Interesting.
Yeah, that whole mind control situation or whatever they got going on. Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. And their trust is well earned. The pilots of the Aircast are born for their sky. Their frail, willowy forms perfectly attuned to demands of high-speed aerial sorry.
You read it right. Don't worry. Just keep
going. Yeah. With hollow bones and sinewy frames, they endure punishing G-forces that would cripple other species. Yet it is not just biology that sets them apart. It is a lifetime of training. From childhood, Aircast members are taught the intricacies of flight, mastering every nuance of the craft until it becomes second nature. The veteran aces lead their squadrons with the experience of entire lifetimes and dedicated to the art of aerial warfare, channeling that expertise towards one goal: victory for the Tau Va. In the endless dance of war, where fire and shadow intertwine across 1,000 battlefields, the Aircast soars above it all, silent, precise, and indomitable, carving the path for the Tau Empire's relentless march toward unity and the greater good.
What is this, like Tau propaganda?
It kind of reads like that, actually. Yeah.
This is just a poster of like a Tau looking heroic.
Tau never lose. Tau always wins. Even a dead Tau is a winner Tau. Because he died for the greater good. Yeah, it is funny. Like, they do so much more than war, though. Like, I wonder what the percentage of actual like Aircast warrior pilots are compared to like the guys that are just delivering food rations.
Right. Is there a distinction, maybe?
Yeah, is there even a distinction?
Right.
Because like if they might have like sophisticated enough like cockpits that they kind of adjust to whatever. Yeah, they can just, this is a cockpit and they're all the same.
Is like the whole race sort of trained for the same thing, and then just some of them get like sent to merchant ships and other ones to
I pulled up a quick little Tau language, so you got Core would be air, and then they have like their rank next, like Core La, Core U, Core Veer. Right. So Core La is messenger, Core U is carrier, Core Veer is pilot, L is captain. There might be one more. Somewhere, but even those, it doesn't necessarily look like there's like a warrior. Like you get to a certain rank and then you become the warrior. So first you're just the local mail boy, doing your paper route, and then eventually, I don't know. I feel like Tau specialize so much where it's like they, like even just the forecast. So then they specialize even further. Like, no, this is our male group of Tau or Tau Aircast. These ones are training for fire warrior ships.
Or is it maybe like merit based, where like the best ones go to war and the other guys just fly like?
Yeah, like I would imagine it's
either
merit based or maybe like
there's no merit in the Tau. Okay?
Everyone.
That's right.
Everyone is equal.
Yeah, maybe it could be like it could just be a genealogy type thing, like just they do breed specifically.
You piloted this ship, so your son will pilot that ship.
Yeah.
Another thing to think about, they don't live very long, do they? Aren't their lifespans like relatively short?
They're like shorter than a human slightly. Yeah. And
it's funny. It's talking about they train for their whole lives, but it's like 20 years. It's not really that long.
That's why they're not as good as aeronautical pilots. Okay.
Yeah. Jeez. More Tau have just died in space travel due to shitty light engines. So they never get anywhere.
Yeah, the 7 years between 7 light years between two planets is actually like 5 generations of Tau.
Dead Tau.
My great grandfather.
He fought for this planet by dying on the spacecraft 4 generations
on the
ago.
colony ship on the way here. Yeah.
Here's for you, great grandpa.
Meanwhile, Dante's been alive for like 1,000 years. That's 1,000 Tau generations.
That's nice.
All right. Are we doing this next part?
Yeah. Do you want to?
Yeah, I can.
Read it.
The Tau Empire's rise to the stars is a tale of improbable ambition and relentless innovation, unfolding across the last 1,000 Terran years, despite being a relative newcomer to the galactic stage. The Tau have achieved staggering progress both in the design of their starships and the development of their interstellar civilization. Through a fusion of high technology and unwavering commitment to the greater good, they have crafted vessels that stand alongside the fearsome warships of the Imperium, an accomplishment driven by the strategic vision of the ethereal caste, who see the Kor'vattra, the Tau protection fleet, as the linchpin of their destiny. I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting. Like Tau seem to always match technology with people. Like they're matching Imperial starship design, or their battle suits often like will try to match other army equivalents of similar scale things like bio titans or whatever like that. They seem to have that kind of trend.
Do Tau have titans?
They have some really big necks,
I
and
got one. You can look at it after.
Really?
really you have like the big Tau.
Not the huge one, but I got one of the bigger ones.
Sounds like commie propaganda.
It is. I just bought it so I could smash it.
Paint it real nice and smash.
I was going to say paint it red and smash it.
Tau, somebody asked Chad, he asked if Tau don't have access to stasis tech. They do.
We're just
do they?
We're just trolling. Yeah, like, they talk about putting the like Farsight and Shadow Sun and Pure Tide and all those great commanders. They talk about putting them in stasis and then bring them out when they're needed. I think the thing with Tau is like communism doesn't look favorably on the people. They don't necessarily care if you die in transport, man. Like you've done that was your duty to the greater good, was to die in that transport and to kind of carry it on that way. I don't think they necessarily care about the common person and putting them in like
they don't care.
spaces
They care about the common person, but not as an individual.
Yeah.
You're just part of the cog.
Yeah, like they want that ship to get there, and they don't really care about the people on the ship. But in a sense, they do. Just good times. I'll ask James if he has candy. Looks like he's been trying to trick the guys into small.
This room gets smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
There's a void of blackness just behind us that hands kind of emerge every now and again and like rustle my hair. Yeah, it's like it's fun.
I think that's just Christian somewhere.
Yeah, he left his baby so he can fondle you.
All right. Without the Kor'vattra, the Tau dream of expansion would be vulnerable to the capricious forces of a hostile universe. Cosmic events like supernovae, like how you wrote that. That's beautiful. And meteor storms could obliterate entire worlds without warning. But since their unification under the ethereal caste, the Tau have surged forward technologically, transforming their once fractured society into a force capable of reaching beyond their homeworld. By the 39th millennium, the Tau had fully developed their home system, encircling their planets with orbital factories and research stations, eager to push the boundaries of known space. Yet as they ventured towards the stars, they confronted a daunting challenge: the vast distances between star systems, an obstacle that demanded a breakthrough in propulsion technology.
And that breakthrough in propulsion technology was
the ZRF drive. I don't know what it was.
The story of the Tau's expansion is divided into 3 distinct phases, each known as a sphere of expansion. These periods of rapid colonization are marked by meticulous preparation as resources are amassed over decades before fleets of exploration ships are dispatched in waves where needed. Military force follows, securing new territories and integrating them into the empire. Once a new colony stabilizes, it becomes a launch pad for the next wave of expansion, propelling the Tau further into the galaxy. Before we say anything, it sounds like every space RTS you've ever played, ever. Just name one.
Stellaris.
Yeah, Stellaris.
Yeah, there you go.
They're basically Stellaris. I don't like that much. It's not that good. And they're also commie. A lot of commie things you could do.
God dang it.
Okay. By the end of the first sphere of expansion, the Tau Empire had established itself as a growing stellar power with 8 fully settled star systems.
8? It's incredible.
Holy man!
Just imagine the sheer power and might they can draw
whole
from.
8.
Wow.
Or
That's,
sets.
that's why you love the Tau. I mean, that's incredible.
1,000 years.
Oh my god. Forming the foundation of their realm. Each sept, named after its central sept world, encompass a network of planets, moons, orbital cities, and outposts connected by vast webs or weaves, communication relays, and sensor arrays. Over time, these septs developed unique cultural identities and distinct blends of Tau caste and allied alien species, contributing to the diversity within the Empire.
Diversity is the Tau's strength. So.
We're gonna get so much hate on this.
I know.
People are gonna be like, first of all, they're not communists. They work on Plato's Republic, but they're gonna give me all these different fucking things. It's gonna be so fun.
Do you think is that an argument? They work on Plato's
Well, I don't
Republic?
know. I'm just, I got some fucking...
Okay, I was like, wow, is that an argument? Well, I'd like to see that hashed out. I'd love to.
James complaints at gmail.com. We will be receiving. We know they are not fully communists. They are just dickheads.
The thing is about Tau is that you have to kind of just they're just the most unique race in the setting. So like I love the huge battlesuits too. That's why I have some of them. We all love the like aspects of the Tau. It's just that they're the hardest to wedge in lore wise, and so you kind of have to look at them from a certain angle. Like they can't go anywhere. They can't.
Hey, give them 1,000 years.
They'll go 1 star system.
Since we're talking about them as the Navy, like that's one of the things. Their ships are really good, and they are able to like mess up basically every fleet that comes into their area. Like if the Tyranids come, if the Orcs come, if the Imperium comes, they're messing them up with their stuff because it's technologically superior in a weird way that like even the Necron don't seem to mess up the Imperium fleets as well as the Tau do.
Mm-hmm.
So like where the joke is that they just can't get anywhere, and that's the main thing about it, right? No one doubts that like a Tau fleet is not to be messed with.
You don't want to negate the firepower of Tau. You know, you're looking down the barrel of the pulse rifle. You don't want to talk too much shit.
Exactly.
Like, that will mess you up, but
it's just that you have to get that pulse rifle to you.
Yeah. Good luck.
Or you have to go to their pulse rifle
with my bayonet.
Are we here?
Yeah.
Okay. By the end of the first sphere expansion, the Tau Empire.
Oh no, I think it was this one.
Okay. Are we sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, 100%. Sorry, everyone. However, the Tau's initial surge of growth eventually met its limits. A combination of factors conspired to stall their expansion, probably the Emperor. The population boom that fueled the Tau's early colonization efforts has stretched their resources thin. The Fire Caste, in particular, was under immense strain. As the brutal conflicts to secure the new worlds drained their ranks, even as the Tau borders expanded, these wars raged on, consuming lives and resources at an unsustainable rate. Another critical obstacle was the sheer distance between star systems. The dense star clusters near Tau have been swiftly colonized, but as the Empire reached out into the sparse regions beyond, the gulfs between systems grew vast. The only sublight drives at their disposal, traversing these distances would take lifetimes. I read that weird. Sorry about that. Making further expansion almost impossible with their existing technology.
Yeah, which is basically what we were saying. It's just that the difficulty of their drives to get anywhere makes it challenging for them to expand, at least in this especially in this early period.
Especially since they don't live that long, you know.
Yeah.
So crazy.
It's not like we're trolling a little bit. It's not significantly less. I think it's like, if I recall, it was like 60 years is like the average Tau lifespan.
We did do all this sphere, so definitely go back and listen for the exact date. It is kind of cool to picture the planet though when they do finally get there and they start like, I wonder what the term for like technology forming a world would be, where it's not terraforming, but it's like now you're building crazy elegant cities and orbital stations, and in the course of a year or two, this whole planet's now become technology enhanced, or whatever you'd want to call it, technology formed.
Technoformed.
There it is.
There it is.
Technoformed. Yeah, exactly. So it'd be cool to see that technoforming process.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The first of these problems was partially addressed with the integration of the Kroot into the Tau Empire. Following the war in the Place of Union, where the Tau and Kroot allied to repel an Orc invasion, the Firecast gained billions of new allies, although the Kroot fought more as mercenaries than devoted followers of the greater good. Their addition bolstered the Tau military might, providing critical reinforcements as the Empire's territorial ambitions grew. Yet the challenge of faster interstellar travel remained unsolved. Despite the best efforts of the Earthcast, engineering centers across every sept toiled ceaselessly, delivering countless innovations to Tau society, but the breakthrough demanded by the ethereals eluded them. For years, the promise of faster-than-light travel seemed out of reach until a team of Earthcast scientists from the Falshaya, they must be relatives of Shia LaBeouf, eh?
Yeah, I would say so.
The Falshaya sept achieved the quantum leap that would redefine Tau expansion.
That kind of talks a little bit about how the engineers are just building everything. Even when we look at our history, like, man, 10 years ago, did we have cell phones in our pocket like we do now? Just imagine that jump of technology.
That struck me a little bit too. That's very kind of like how we are. Like, it's just more and more innovation.
Yeah, and you can't even really keep up with it even. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. But that also means we're getting older. Because my kid keeps up with like any little thing that comes up. So especially if it's technology.
I always wondered that if when we're like old in the old folks' home, like since we grew up with a little bit of technology, would we kind of get it? Like my Opa, he doesn't get it.
Yeah,
he's not texting people, but we might be hopefully.
Yeah,
playing games.
The things that like your kid will have when he's a teenager, you can't even dream of.
He's not having anything. He's gonna be trapped alone on an island just eating chickens with me. That's his fate.
And fishing and fighting monkeys.
Exactly. Was it ever said how Tau became so technologically advanced? Unity.
Well, I think the basically the ethereals just show up and then just technology starts happening. Like basically they unite everyone and then they start discovering things when they're not. I guess the Tau version of it would be now that they're not fighting each other, they've come together and with the greater good in mind, they have been able to put their differences aside and unite to.
That's nice for them. Very different than humans. When we go to war, we're like, sweet, we invented soap. All these type of war inventions and not. War booms the economy in Tau. Like, no.
Peace. That's how we discover it.
But are they like inventing it all themselves? Or are they ever stealing anything?
I think they're inventing it all themselves. Well, no. There is Xenos. Like, there's plenty of like the best one would be like Demiurge use ion technology that get transferred on into space or into their spacecraft or whatever. So
and they have been known to try and steal Space Marine armor and incorporate it into their tech.
So they might be reverse engineering some stuff here and there.
Maybe.
Well, I think it's more like it's a more pragmatic, like maybe a modern technological view of how people do it. It's like, oh, if some other company comes up with a good technology idea, you're like, oh, we're going to do that too then. But you do have your own internal R&D that's working on stuff.
It's like that matching idea that they do. It's like, they have that ship, so we'll make a similar one. It's not that ship, it's our version of it.
Right. Yeah, they're making their own tech, but they're also willing to incorporate other ideas that they come across. Yeah, right.
Sweet. The creation of the ZFR Horizon accelerator engine marked a turning point in the Tau Empire's history. This near light speed drive system, a marvel of ingenuity, allowed the Tau starships to span interstellar distances in mere years of objective time. While the crews aboard experienced minimal aging due to the effects of we forgot about relativistic travel too.
And I even watched Interstellar.
And all our trolling, we forgot.
Dang it. Okay. Well, no, but even still, this is just with this engine
fair. Okay, so our trolling.
Okay,
good. Our trolling is valid. Perfect. Minimal aging due to the effects of relativistic travel. With the breakthrough, the Tau launched their second sphere expansion, setting their sights on new worlds and deeper reaches of the galaxy. The ZFR drive was more than a technological advancement. It was the key that unlocked the future, enabling the Tau Empire to expand across the stars guided by the unwavering vision of the greater good.
Yeah, this is so much different than the way anyone else travels the galaxy, whether it's through ripping holes in warp or webway portals or other dimensional travel. Like this, it's like this skimmer type thing where they're not fully doing any of these. It's so different, and it's safe to some degree, I suppose, but it's also slow, kind of useless, really.
Right.
But
Yeah, they can't really get anywhere they want to go.
But it's safe, I suppose.
Yeah, they don't have to go into the warp for anything. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, theoretically though, they should be at some point able to get intergalactic, or not intergalactic, but intergalactic travel, right? Because we know that there are technological ways to get across the galaxy. The Necron have them.
Yeah.
The Tyranids have them for sure. So, like, even without a psychic ability at all, you still should theoretically be able to get there. I don't know why
like,
they haven't.
There's tons of like cool like portals too, like dolmen gates at like, or maybe not dolmen gates, but big gates that like jump across the galaxy. Tons of cool stuff like that are technological. So yeah, I think you're right. They don't necessarily need psychers, but they definitely need some more. Is there a confirmed number of races part of the Tau's greater good? I was looking at that earlier today, and there's probably like 25 that they named. And maybe some of them only have that one line on them, but there's a lot. There's definitely a lot more since we did some Tau episodes back in the day. So
are there any psychic races that they have?
Yeah, like since we're talking about the fleet specifically, like we'll talk about the Nikasar, which is like a psychic psychic traveler ships essentially, where they're really good traveling through the void because they're so tuned into psychic travel. You know, it's when you're talking about warp and science, who's to say? But they do have a bunch, and the Nikasar are a cool one because they utilize that psychicness, which would be so weird for the Tau to try to like. Okay, so what are you guys up to on your ships? Like,
so then it does. They don't really have an excuse why the Tau can't go anywhere then, because they have access to psychers.
Yeah,
maybe I guess they don't have necessarily like astropaths, but like even theoretically they have humans, so they could build that. I just think that they don't for lore reasons. Like to make them lore what they are, they force them to just not.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like stuff. Even like the Kroot, man, they have warp capable ship. They can jump across the galaxy. The Kroot, and they don't even know how to make pants. But they have warp drive. So
I want to be a Kroot. That's amazing. Yeah. No pants, warp all day, baby.
Yeah, so you're right. Like they wrote them into this weird corner where we could name a bunch of races that have warp drives, and why they don't make some type of weird crossover tech. I don't know. I think it has to do with like it's just that like unknown and fear, and like they don't know what the warp is. They can't relate to it. They don't understand it. They can't comprehend it on any level.
It could be a reasonable, like if we were to give the benefit of the doubt and actually give a good answer to that question. So like a legitimate answer would be maybe the ethereals are aware, like the ethereals have interacted with chaos. They know that it exists, and they might just think dealing with the warp is too dangerous to allow us to touch it. And I mean, that it would be fair. Maybe the more they interact with chaos, maybe the more they gain a negative aspect to it. So like I think there's a legitimate answer why they would stay away from it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
They could also be just building up their forces and fleets, to one day do it.
Yeah, sure. A couple thousand years they'll be
like every RTS space game. That's how you do it.
They're just
literally
spamming one ship in the back of their base right now.
And then you pick the frigate, just 1,000 frigate, and then one dreadnought. And that's however long that takes.
And the sixth sphere of expansion was led by the noble Shasso Skylar. His military genius was unmatched. So Starship development. The dawn of the Starship development saw the emergence of the mighty Gaelith class vessels known as explorers in the Tau lexicon. These colossal craft were the cornerstone of the fledgling Kor'vattra, the first generation of Tau warships, and they played a critical role in the early expansion of the Empire. These Leviathans spearheaded the Tau's first campaigns against the Orcs and the Nikasar, two starkly different opponents that would shape the destiny of the Tau's rise amongst the stars. The Nikasar, though intelligent, were technologically inferior to the Tau and quickly overwhelmed. Their swift defeat led to their integration into the Tau Empire as one of the first Xenos species to join the Tau greater good, marking an early victory for the expanding Tau dominion. But the Orcs were a different matter entirely. Their warships were crude yet devastatingly effective, boosting superior speed, heavier shielding, and overwhelming firepower compared to the ponderous Gaelith class starship. Against such relentless and unpredictable foe, the Tau soon realized that the vast resource-intensive vessels were too precious to risk on the front lines.
I do love that that is one of the first, like, 40k races they come across is orcs. Just like the complete polar opposite of the greater good.
Yeah, and
like
you're just like, so this is what the galaxy's like? You're just
everything is worse than this. This is the baseline.
These guys are actually known for the comic relief of the
yeah, these are the good guys in relation to just being hilarious. But now you have to go through and face everything that's worse. I think that's an excellent that they were the first ones.
Necessity drove innovation, and the Tau responded by developing more agile and specialized vessels. The Il-Fenor class, or merchant ships, emerged as a versatile backbone of the Kor'vattra. Smaller and more maneuverable than the Gaelith, these ships were crucial in countering the nimble orc escorts that plagued the fleets. Alongside them, the Tau introduced the Class I class, or Case I class. What are these words? They're just letters and numbers and whatever. We'll nickname that one the Orca. And these compact strike craft are designed for deployment with larger vessels equipped with the ZFR drive, allowing them to be carried across vast interstellar distances before disengaging to engage enemies at their destination. The Cas-L gunships, paired with the heavy firepower of newly developed super heavy iron cannons and swarms of Barracuda fighters, began to shift the balance back in favor of the Tau. Yet it was not merely superior technology that ensured the survival of the Empire. It was the relentless efficiency of the Tau shipyards that truly turned the tide. As Orc warbands and Imperial forces sought to crush the rising Tau, it was the Empire's unparalleled capacity for rapid production and resource management that kept its fleets afloat. For every vessel lost, a replacement was soon ready, fully equipped and crewed by the disciplined ranks of the air caste. Yeah, when we're talking about that and like the Imperium, there's 10,000 years old ships in the Imperium that are like,
which is crazy.
Never getting replaced ever, no matter like. So for them to just be pumping out ships of high quality, it goes back to that. What do we call it? The technofiling, technoforming. Yeah, where that's their specialty. They don't have numbers. They don't have like a big empire, but everything is just dialed in so good. The logistics and every resource is then amplified, and
it does make sense that like the way the Tau operate, they're basically just a futuristic version of modern society in a lot of ways. So they have the ability to just ramp up production on everything that they want, and they're super efficient, because they don't have to worry about dissension. They don't have to worry about different people going different ways. So everyone is doing their job very efficiently, and they're all
everyone loves their 24-hour work days. In the Tau Empire, they love it.
Also, they don't seem very like sentimental or like compared to the humans who are like, they have these relic ships, right? That they're never going to get rid of. Like, they're just like, oh, this is old technology. Let's just replace it. Right?
Yeah, the Tau are praying to their drones and stuff, anointing them in sacred oils. No, that's a very good point.
Ultra progressive.
There's no tie to the technology. It's what's next, what's new.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I know we've been jumping on the Tau a lot, but allow me to do it a little bit more. That's one of the things that like makes them feel so like jarring in comparison to everything else. Like like literally everything is about kind of it's old and it's falling apart. Like all the races have that except for the Tau. And maybe it's a good thing. You could argue that it's like this is the contrast to it. Yeah. Like this is the hopeful, new, flashy thing going on, and everything else is worshiping the past. But it's just like everything else just feels so like ancient and like interesting and has all this deep lore. Whereas when it comes to the Tau, they're just like, we've just built a new ship and now that old one's obsolete. So it's like
I recycled it already.
We spent a lot of time on
3. I don't need that anymore.
we got a couple of comments here before I read the last little section. I wonder what the orcs thought coming across a race that's blue. Were they like, they seen them as lucky? Like, were the Tau lucky? They tried shooting at the Tau and the Tau were doing the Matrix dodges? Like, so what's happened? Yes, that is what happened there. That is canon 100%. The next question, what are the ships looking like? I do have a slideshow made. We can pull up some pictures. I think I put it in our chat. You know, Google Images is a hell of a thing too, everyone out there. You can learn everything that I learned too by going online. In these early wars, the Tau's mastery of logistics and innovation enabled them to not only withstand the fury of the orcs and mankind, but to grow stronger in the face of adversity. Each engagement was a learning experience, each setback an opportunity to redefine their designs. The Gaelith may have been the initial vanguard, but it was adaptive and resilient fleet that followed. The Ilfanor, Cass 1, and the countless other classes born from necessity that truly forged the future of the Tau Empire's stellar dominion. Yeah. We got a picture of any of those?
I'll pull it up after I do this next reading bit. All right, so we're going to talk about the Kor'vattra. The Damocles Crusade marked a sobering chapter for the Tau Empire, where the cold reality of galactic warfare clashed with the optimism of expansion. In the first brutal encounters with the Imperial Navy, particularly in the Hydas system, the Kor'vattra suffered grievous losses. The Tau fleet's vessels, while advanced, proved inadequate in direct confrontations with the might of mankind. The aging warships, originally designed for skirmishes against less formidable Xenos, crumbled under the relentless assault of the Imperium's battle-hardened fleets. For all the courage and precision of the aircast pilots, it became evident that the Tau simply lacked the firepower, armor, and tactical flexibility to stand toe-to-toe with the vast ancient war machine of the Imperium. This brutal realization was further compounded during clashes with the high-fleet behemoth. The ravenous swarms of the Tyranids exposed critical weaknesses in the Tau ship design. Despite the heroic efforts of the crew, the Kor'vattra's vessels were outmaneuvered, outgunned, and overwhelmed by sheer ferocity and speed and quantity of the invaders. It was a bitter lesson for the Tau, revealing that their current fleet doctrine was outdated and insufficient for the myriad threats lurking in the galaxy's void. The need for a drastic overhaul was clear. With the ethereal cast's approval, the Tau High Command launched the Kor'vattra Initiative, a comprehensive and urgent program of naval redesign and expansion. This initiative was nothing less than a total transformation of the Tau's approach to space warfare. Led by the Earthcast's finest minds, the project was granted the highest priority and resources. Decades of research, development, and innovation culminated in a new generation of ships, each one embodying the hard-won lessons of the conflicts of the latest advance in technology. Yeah.
Maybe it's lost. You carry on.
Okay, cool. The first fruits of this initiative were the vessels of the Ilpuriui class.
Why do you always say names like eating banana, man? Why do you do that?
I don't know. You guys don't eat bananas while you're doing this? I don't know.
Not like you do.
The Ilpuriui. How would you pronounce it?
I got nothing for you.
It was a cruiser, a versatile testbed for revolutionary design concepts that balanced firepower, speed, and defensive systems. This is followed by the Kor'vattra class escort, a nimble ship engineered for precise strikes and rapid response in the heat of battle. The true centerpiece of the Kor'vattra program, however, was the Ors El Iath class battleship, a leviathan of Tau engineering, bristling with heavy weaponry and supported by squadrons of Kir-La class gunships. These ships represented a quantum leap in Tau naval capabilities, integrating new tactical paradigms and strategies born from the crucible of the earlier defeats. Say every Tau name like it's Japanese. I'm not going to do that.
I think you should.
I will lose my job. Although individual vessels from the new fleet were encountered sporadically by Imperial forces in the lead up to the Tauros campaign, it was during that conflict that the galaxy first witnessed the coordinated might of the Kor'vattra generation in full force. These ships were no longer just tools of exploration or deterrence, they were weapons of war, purpose-built to confront and challenge even the most established spacefaring powers.
It's kind of sad. Like, basically, this is what sucks about the Tau. You know, they always go into the galaxy and then they have to fight people. They're like, we just want to get along. And then they go to the next planet. They have to fight a bunch of people. And they're like, okay, now we got to turn these beautiful, peaceful, like, ships we made into warships. And like, okay, next planet. oh great, another race that we have to now conquer and capture. And this will be their story the whole time. And I think this is what makes them truly grim, dark, and sad. And like they're never gonna get anywhere. They're never.
I agree with you because I think we've talked about this
Yeah.
before. It's like what makes them grimdark is that their optimism is
so misplaced.
well, yeah.
So
it's inevitably gonna fail, and
Yeah.
the only real response they'd have is to either become what the rest of the universe is or fail.
yeah, and that will be a choice, and that would be an interesting kind of story arc to see some ethereals be put in that position of like, do we do the evil now? Like the evil the other galaxy, the rest of the galaxies do.
Or not even the evil, just the pragmatism, not idealistic optimism. Because like even just like if they found that, oh wow, these races that we all like have allied with, we can't trust them to really look out for the Tau interest. They might separate, like stuff like that. I think would be interesting to make the Tau kind of wrestle with the fact that they have this greater good, but like, is it going to work?
Yeah,
because it seems
their
like it's just
idea,
if they just have enough time, the way they've kind of been written, eventually they'll win, and because they'll just keep getting better tech, keep expanding, keep beating stuff, keep getting better ways of traveling
empire.
around.
Absorb that one.
In the aftermath of the Kor or Vesh initiative success, the older vessels of the Kor'vattra were reassigned to bolster the Tau merchant fleet. Heavily armed and still valuable, these veterans of earlier campaigns found new purpose in safeguarding trade routes and securing the Empire's economic lifelines. The transformation was complete. The Tau's ambition among the stars now rested on a navy capable of not just survival, but dominance. A fleet reborn from the lessons of defeat, ready to carry the greater good into the darkest reaches of the galaxy. Yeah.
They make their appearance and they think everything's going to be good, and it's not. So then they make crazy warships.
Yeah. Speaking of their warships, we'll talk now about their main naval weapons and systems. So starting with turrets. In the realm of starship defense, Tau turrets stand as a paragon of sophistication and lethality. These advanced systems weave together a diverse arsenal of weaponry with overlapping fields of fire, ensuring a comprehensive shield against any threat.
One of my favorite ships is the Tau Manta, and that thing is like a orbital drop ship. But that thing is like fucking 20 burst cannon turrets on it, and it's just it's bristling with turrets in every direction on the top of the wings.
It's a cool model.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of people do like. I think I'm sure many of you have watched the play on tape or the 40K in 40 minutes play on tabletop. I think they did like a board, whereas a Manta was the field.
Cool.
So you're like fighting on a landed Manta. It was awesome.
Like a kill team on top.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And I can just imagine their spaceships too. They carry that same principle of turrets everywhere, just locking on every angle.
Yeah, and they don't have like the aversion to AI that everyone else has, so they're all like auto like, just like spinning every direction.
Next we got the ion cannons, and the ion cannons of the Tau are instruments of sheer devastation. Upon impact, these weapons unleash a torrent of energy, vaporizing their target with unrelenting force. Their efficacy renders conventional armor impotent, functioning with the same fearsome precision as the Imperial Navy's lances. In every respect, they embody the pinnacle of destructive capability. And then we got railgun batteries. So railguns, when mounted on Tau warships, harness immense amounts of energy despite the efficiency of Tau's superconductors. These colossal weapons fire in a meticulous sequence, channeling power to one barrel at a time to ensure each is reloaded before being recharged. They serve as the backbone of Tau firepower, delivering devastating volleys as standard weapon batteries.
Yeah, I think they would probably be one of like the craziest weapons in space combat, where you're like 100 kilometers away from your enemy, and it's like, how do you shoot them and predict where they're going to be when they can? It's such a long distance, but yeah, those railguns, just instant.
Yeah, the weird thing is like railguns exist now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's an interesting weapons choice.
Yeah, it is.
Like it's a cool concept. Essentially, you could make it as powerful as you want by just
as long as you have enough energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you could make it infinitely power essentially. There's a funny meme called the peasant railgun in D&D. You hire a bunch of peasants and then you get them to hand off a stick, and apparently it generates momentum.
Well, so, the way it works is that
good.
Somebody did the math of like a turn is a certain amount of seconds. and then they calculated these are all free actions, so they can be done instantaneously, all in the same turn. So you pass the stick, but the distance it would travel in the amount of time makes it that it would be effectively the speed of a railgun. That was
That's it. But yeah, like the railguns is super cool because essentially you could just amp infinite power into them and just
yeah, it's cool that like they did use the Tau feels so much more grounded than everything else.
Yeah.
For that, like, and that is one aspect that I think people do like to lean into is the idea that like, yeah, this feels like real. Like, railguns are a real thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't understand Demon Warp helmet magic.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. They also have a diverse array too, like lots of different options. Like the next one, they got the gravitic launcher. So the gravitic launcher represents a fusion of raw power and cutting edge technology. And these are also massive railguns, basically employing mass drivers to initiate acceleration before the starship's gravitic field is pulsed, propelling missiles toward their target at breathtaking velocities. The missiles, guided by drones, are exceptionally formidable, turning them into a deadly menace on the battlefield.
Yeah, so basically a better railgun. Well, railguns, you could shoot a pea out of it and it will be destructive. Where this are like, let's shoot missiles out of the railgun.
Drone-guided missiles.
Drone guy, exactly.
And then from there, we got the gravitic hook. And gravitic hooks are engineering marvels, large suspensory arms that create a gravitic sheath capable of transporting smaller vessels within the protective embrace of a larger starship. These hooks exemplify the Tau's mastery over gravitic technology, facilitating the safe and efficient transfer of craft between vessels.
So the thing that's interesting about that one, though, is that is how, again, my understanding of Tyranid interplanetary travel is gravity based.
Yeah.
So theoretically, they have this technology that the Tyranids would have in order to travel faster than light. So, like, again, we know they can't interact with the warp, or they might not interact with the warp.
But there's so many other elements at play. Yeah. I think this gravitic hook came from the Nikasar specifically, so it might not be an example of their tech.
Maybe they can't reverse engineer it for some reason.
Or they just haven't got the idea to not reverse engineer it, but like further advance it. You know, like they got this piece of Xenos tech and like, we'll leave it here. Like we got our own projects we're working on.
But they can't like use it for their ships, you know, to like, you know, sort of engineer new like drivers.
It just doesn't seem like it. It seems like when they get Xenos technology, they might make it slightly more efficient, but they don't change the purpose of it. Like,
so maybe they don't have like they struggle with creativity in some way.
You know, and a lot of these types of systems where everyone's equal, they do struggle with that individuality, that creativity, that or maybe personal drive to go do something that no one else has done.
Maybe the in-world explanation for what that would be, though, that like humans, we do touch the warp, and maybe that's part of like that inspiration or what makes you I don't know, there's like a magic about it almost, that is what you're doing, is touching the warp in some way when you think about stuff like that.
Man, that's the weird thought. I've heard people talk about like the muse a lot, where like what are these ideas that we're getting? We've all had these ideas that just come to you and like, I don't think that was me.
We always describe like inspiration as coming from outside of ourselves. So maybe the in 40K the warp is kind of we're tapping into the warp somehow to do that.
That's why it's such a violent place. Everyone's like, okay, tap into bloodshed and murder. I like it.
But then
this is a cool kind of concept.
The Tau wouldn't be able to necessarily tap into creativities easily because they don't have that soul that can tap into the warp.
Which is why maybe they have to like see it with their own eyes before they can kind of be like, oh, you know, let's work on something like that. You know?
No, exactly. Yeah, where they see the technology like, oh, we could do that too, but better.
Right. Yeah.
So
I could see it.
Next, we got their shields. So the Tau's defensive prowess extends to their shield systems, which shape gravitic fields to repel incoming fire. These shields operate with the same protective effectiveness as standard void shields, providing an essential layer of defense against hostile engagements. And then we got the deflector. Excuse me. The deflector is a specialized variant of the void shield, prominently mounted on the brow or the prow of the latest Tau starships. This advanced system reshapes gravitic fields into a dense, wedge-like barrier, significantly enhancing the vessel's resistance to frontal assaults. And when struck from the front, the deflector augments the ship's passive armor, though it can be compromised if the prow sustains damage.
So is that like a gravity shield? Like basically the concept is it shoots through this like gravity shield and then it might take away like all momentum or just kind of stop it dead. So even if the missile makes it through, it might just like have no more force.
I took it the way that most sci-fis talk about deflectors, which is like, so in Star Trek, the way they described it is like a deflector is like this shield that specifically its purpose is when you're flying at super high speeds and you hit like a little pebble, that would be like
micrometeor,
yeah, that would just explode your ship. So it'd be like, I think it's the idea is that it's supposed to
creates a cone in front of your vessel
that pushes things out of the way. So it'd be almost like the gravity would be it bounce off the
it's
gravity.
not stopping, it's more just redirecting.
Exactly.
I don't know. That doesn't make sense bouncing off gravity. I don't know how that would work, but I think the idea is it's more of like a protective shield of some sort that pushes things out of the way, or maybe crushes them. Like if it's a significant gravity well, maybe it crushes something in front of it, like the way a black hole would crush something.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Cool. We got their tracking system. So among Tau starships, the Skedar Can class.
Oh, that was beautiful. Look at you.
Thank you. Stands out for its unparalleled data storage and processing capabilities. These vessels are equipped with advanced systems that handle vast quantities of information, providing a real-time feed to the ship's turrets. During fleet actions, this processing power can be shared with nearby Tau vessels, coordinating their defenses and enhancing the effectiveness of the entire fleet. Then we got their battle suits.
This is what everyone came here for. This is why this army exists.
Yeah. The battle suits in space is super cool. We'll read this.
They also look cool too. It's probably partially why people buy them.
Yeah,
100%.
Look awesome.
That's why the Tau exists.
Yeah.
No one's getting them for the cadre fire blade.
All I can say is I did a Tau army and I didn't have a battle suit, just tanks. I'm a tank boy, so
That's because you're a deviant.
That's it. Yeah.
So equipped with jetpacks and maneuvering thrusters, Tau battlesuits like the XV-8 Crisis battlesuits leap into the blackness of space, crossing the void between vessels with calculated precision. These suits are designed to operate in zero gravity, allowing Firecast pilots to use the cold vacuum to their advantage. They maneuver with agility that belies their size, dodging incoming fire and finding perfect angles to strike at their enemy ships. In coordinated assaults, waves of battlesuits launched from Tau carriers and gunships, using their mobility to evade targeting systems as they close the distance. Their weaponry, including high-yield plasma rifles, fusion blasters, missile pods, they're designed for close quarters, ship-to-ship combat, capable of burning through armor or striking critical points on an enemy vessel. Some suits are even equipped with an advanced electronic warfare system to disrupt enemy communications and target while sowing chaos in their ranks. The battlesuit's ability to jump between ships turns the battlefield into a three-dimensional chessboard where they can strike from unexpected angles and disappear into the void just as quickly. This synergy between the Tau's warships and battlesuits embodies their philosophy of rapid, overwhelming force, allowing them to outmaneuver and outgun slower, less flexible opponents in the unforgiving expanse of space.
Yeah, it's such a cool image in my mind of just the darkness of space, and then you have these Tau ships that, they're flying to the other spot and they open up their back door and a bunch of battle suits jump out and jump onto the enemy ship, blasting turrets and running around on the outside.
That is an awesome idea. Because especially the crisis suits look like they would be for that.
Yeah.
And just hopping around from ship to ship, and you just have that little guy in there just running around shooting some plasma cannons and stuff. That's super cool.
It's just so much different than the way other races do it, where it's usually the boarding parties, where seems like it's all exterior damage they're trying to do. They're taking out comms, relays, turrets, all that kind of stuff.
But they could also go in if they want to.
They could if they want to, yeah.
I don't know why they would, because then they'd be in melee, and you know how the Tau love that.
They don't want that.
No. It seems like a superior strategy, though, doesn't it? You just screw around on the outside, maybe puncture the hull in a couple places to really mess them up inside, and then you're out.
cripple their engine, and
Yeah.
then they're just a sin fish, you know, like
exactly.
no, I really love that image, man. You can just picture like the cool thing about crisis suits too is like they're not rare. So you could picture them dropping off thousands of these things onto a ship, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, very fun.
Becomes another mode of delivering ordnance in a way, right?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead of a missile, you're just dropping off suits or whatever.
Yeah, that then can get exactly where they need to be, and
they're all independent, right? They do whatever they need to do because they know what they need to do.
Yeah. It's cool how they seems like they have pretty agile flight too, especially like compared to other like sort of mech suits and other races that are a little clunkier, sort of just like they almost
like Space Marines are like they get flung at the ship and then they mag lock their boots onto it. That's their movement that they got, you know. But
Jax is asking if they're environmentally sealed. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, for sure. No, those crisis suits are made for doing like high atmosphere drops and stuff, all types of void warfare, all types of stuff. So
it's pretty cool.
Cool.
All right, we're gonna do fleet ships now. So battleships, the early expansion of the Tau Empire across the stars was carried out on the broad backs of the Kor'vattra class starship Titanic vessels that served as the backbone of the fledgling Kor'vattra.
That's a lawsuit. Get in Lorehammer legal.
Designed during an age when the Tau first ventured beyond their home star system. These Leviathans were equipped with a colossal ether drive. Ether drive. A crude precursor to the more advanced propulsion systems of later eras, where the Galeath was sluggish by the standard of Imperial voidcraft, moving through the warp space at a pace 5 times slower than its counterparts. It was swift enough to propel the Tau into a wider galaxy during the years of their empire's growth. These colossal ships were more than mere transports. With cavernous cargo holds, the Galeath class could haul entire modular orbital stations, way stations, and even message boats. Their decks housed sophisticated research facilities, making each ship a roving citadel of science and exploration. Additionally, they functioned as mobile shipyards capable of hosting and servicing smaller semi-independent vessels. For nearly 100 towers seer? Is that a...
That's like a time.
Oh, okay.
Like a Tau year, essentially.
Okay. For 100 Tau years, the Galeath reigned as the primary starship in continuous production, evolving from Mark 1 to Mark 23 with each iteration, but that's XX3, by the way, Roman numerals.
That's a lot of different marks of ship.
Yeah, holy crap, 23 versions.
Seriously,
That's nuts. With each iteration boasting refined systems and specialized upgrades tailored to the needs of the ever-expanding Tau Empire.
Yeah, that is just crazy. And it's not like it's like every ship sucked and they're trying to make a better one. It's like everyone's actually better. These aren't iPhone upgrades. These are actual upgrades. Fun times.
Yeah. Where are we at here? Oh, however, the class met its match in the blood-soaked void of conflict against the savage brute force of orc terror ships and keel cruisers. The Galeath's shortcomings became brutally apparent. These vessels were not conceived as warships, and despite their formidable size, they lack the firepower and the resilience to hold the line against the relentless assaults of orc hordes. This harsh reality accelerated the development of the Ilfener class. I guess that's how Ulfener?
The ill-fated.
Ill-fated Fenner. Ilfener class starships, more agile and combat-focused design intended to take the fight to the enemies of the Empire. With the introduction of the Ilfener, production of the Galeath class plummeted by 85%, marking the end of an era. Yet the Galeath did not fade entirely. Many still ply the stars, relics of a bygone age. Sorry. Yeah. I screwed that reading up, boys. Sorry about that.
The nice part about this is we edit it all in post. So
I don't think you can clean it all up.
no, trust me. I have the best editors. We edit it all up. Every stumble, every
Yeah, it's all flawless when it gets out.
Yeah. Wow. One such relic, the Delia, the Delia Gelia Kesan.
Just go with the first pronunciation.
Yeah,
It's always right.
Yeah. Represented the pinnacle of the class as the first Mark 24 design. It was tasked with leading an expedition under the esteemed ethereal supreme Anshi to gather intelligence on the enigmatic Farsight enclaves. The Kassan's mission remains shrouded in mystery and is unclear in further iterations of the Galiath class. It is unclear if more will be constructed or if the design will finally be consigned to history.
That's one thing about the Tau that's also a little tough for them, is just that there's a lot of lore mystery. Like I can even appreciate like adding a little bit of that. You're like, oh, there's one left, but it's off doing something. Because like that's one of the things, when your lore gets to a certain size, you need things to be mystery. That's where you play when you're
He's right.
When you're in the lore, is you play with those mysteries of what could this be? How could this work? Maybe it operates this way, and you get to play with the ideas. When they answer questions, it doesn't even like you read earlier, they dropped production by 85%. That's like, okay,
it's a specific.
I mean, that's like precision, and I know that fits stylistically with the Tau, but it leaves less room for you to like mess around with lore. Like, oh, maybe my guys are on a secret mission and they're on this kind of ship, but if there's too much specific stuff, you don't get to play too much. So like having some of this is even good. Like I can appreciate them adding in like some mystery there.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they really like Tau only have like one big mystery to really dive into, and that's like, what do you think their relationship between the Ethereals and the other cast members are? That's really the only thing we don't fully know, and that's a fun thing to play with, but you can only play with that so much.
Right.
Yeah. So I do appreciate also that they have that whole weird thing, like what is going on with Farsight, but then they answered a whole bunch of those questions, and then it means it's like, okay, now there's even less to play with on this.
There's also that like new four-armed entity god that they kind of created during the fourth sphere of expansion. There's like some type of fucking deity that they've been working on. That's nonsense. So I remember kind of going over that episode and just being like, I don't think I even want to commit this to memory. It's so bad. Like, you're telling me the Tau somehow are making a fucking warp god? I don't know.
It's because they saw other races do it, and they're like,
I can make battleships and warp gods. Okay, I'm back on board. You know, this is why you're here.
Yeah. Fair. All right. In stark contrast, the Ores Elite Custodian class carrier represents the cutting edge of Tau naval power under the Kor'vattra initiative. Towering over its predecessors, this behemoth is a symbol of the Tau's evolved military doctrine. Though it lacks the rugged durability of the battleships fielded by other species, the Ores Elite is bristling with every weapon in the Tau's arsenal. Batteries of railguns, ion cannons, gravitic launchers, and launch bays packed with mantas and barracudas. 3 gravitic hooks allow it to carry a Kirla class escort, making it a formidable fortress capable of unleashing devastating firepower while deploying squadrons of fighters and gunships to dominate the void. Yeah, that's crazy. The carrier first trial by fire came during the infamous Teros campaign. There, the Oros Elite class carrier, Arho, served as the linchpin.
No, you have to pronounce that Japanese. Arho. No, it's Aho.
Aho. Served as the linchpin of a daring Tau fleet strategy. The Aho acted.
I hate it.
As a decoy, luring several Imperial vessels away from critical engagements, with 2 Lar'Shi class cruisers stuck at Imperial supply lines with surgical precision, crippling the enemy's logistics and tipping the scales in favor of the Tau. The success of this operation cemented the Orselith class as a cornerstone of the Tau naval doctrine, proof that while they may lack the brute strength of the other races, the Tau can still triumph through calculated precision and strategic foresight.
Yeah, they sure can. And we're happy for them for that. Yikes. Yeah, so definitely remember that voice for Dad Hammer episode. I think that will make a great crew member.
Perfect.
Yeah, lock that in there.
I mean, chat loves it. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's go down a chat walk for a quick second before we jump into cruisers. So Jack says, the Tau warp god is just a mech. And I said, mecha god. Then
Yeah,
some
mecha
pervert,
god.
some sick pervert says big titty Tau girl, actually. And another person says, yeah, that's canon. So it's there. Then somebody says, hell yeah, I mean heresy. No heresy with the Tau. But basically there's some deviants in the chat.
That was me. I'm the deviant.
Yeah, up next we got some cruisers. The Il'Fanar, the merchant class starship, represents a crucial evolution in the Tau's early attempts to unify the expanding domains. Conceived as a new workhorse of the Empire, the Il'Fanar was built with reactors far smaller than those of the hulking Galeth class, but its nimble engines allow it to achieve speeds that were a third of those of Imperial starships' warp drive. This increase in speed was vital for knitting together the burgeoning star systems and the fledgling empire, enabling swifter trade routes and communication across vast distances.
So hold on, they can go a third of warp travel?
I think what they're saying with this is like real space travel. So you have your real space engines, because I'm pretty sure that's what they're meaning. Like you can go
there's no way they could go if they could go a third of warp speed, then that's
crazy.
Then
all of a sudden all their complaints are irrelevant, essentially.
Yeah, they can go anywhere they want.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure they mean like real space engines
that must
flight.
That's interesting though that the Imperium ships are still faster.
Yeah.
Even their
Just
faster
brute
ships.
power.
Yeah.
Maybe just
Partly magic.
Right, fucking magic, yeah. The sheer fucking will to dominate. Yeah, who knows? However, the small escalating conflicts with the Orcs demanded significant modifications to the Il'Fanar design. Field adaptation saw much of its cargo space converted into weapon mounts, transforming this erstwhile freighter into a capable combat vessel. Throughout these early wars, the Il'Fanar served primarily as a warship until the introduction of the Lar'Shi class. Even as new designs emerged, the Il'Fanar remained a versatile and indispensable asset, holding the line in numerous engagements and proving its worth as both a transport and combat ship. The Lar'Shi Hero class starship stands as a testament to the Tau's determination to match the might of the Imperial naval forces. Designed to respond to the Tau's first encounters with the Imperial Navy during the Damocles Gulf Crusade, the Lar'Shi was intended to rival the formidable Lunar-class cruiser. While the Lar'Shi ultimately fell short of its ambitious goal, it nonetheless became a solid ship of the line for the Tau protection fleet. Its advanced systems, though not a direct match for Imperial firepower or resilience, made it a credible threat on the battlefield, and a symbol of the Tau's commitment to the ever-evolving naval capabilities. The Lar'Shi Veer protector class cruiser was developed by the Tau's primary warship, took the lessons learned from the previous conflicts, and focused on raw firepower. Where it lacks in the thick armor and layered void shields that define Imperial vessels, the Lar'Shi Veer compensates with devastating weaponry. In the Taurus campaign, 2 of these cruisers wreaked havoc on Imperial supply lines, where their Ori's El Leith class carrier counterpart drew forces away. Armed with railgun batteries, ion cannons, and gravitic missile launchers, the Lar'Shi Veer cruiser unleashed focused and overwhelming volleys while deploying Barracudas and Mantis to secure air superiority and strike key targets. Yeah, this ship kind of just sounds like they all sound like they just like shooting from a distance, blasting them, keeping distance. It doesn't sound like they're always the most fastest or heavily armored, but I think it's just like that space and that distance they create.
Yeah, it kind of actually makes sense what we talked about with the aircast is these aren't soldiers necessarily, and they don't have that mentality. They're not firecast or earthcast.
Fire.
Yeah, firecast. When the firecast is. They're not bred soldiers, so they don't really want to be engagements. They do what they have to, but they're not bred for battle. Yeah, that checks out.
Their tactic is just blast.
They're just
Blast
smack them.
them, yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you do this?
The little puri.
Emissary class starship serves a different purpose within the Tau fleet, embodying the Empire's ideals for diplomacy and governance. Designed primarily as a transport for high-ranking ethereals, firecast commanders, and watercast diplomats, it is not a frontline combat vessel. However, it is no easy target. The Impeli is well armed with gravitic launchers, railgun batteries, and 2 launch bays for defensive strikes. Additionally, its enhanced deflector system bolsters the effectiveness of its forward armor, allowing it to survive skirmishes when diplomacy turns sour. Increasingly common throughout the Tau Empire, the Imperial starship traveled to distant worlds on diplomatic missions and merchant ventures, expending the influence of the Tau and paving the way for future expansions. Yeah, interesting. So this is a nice standard fleet. And this kind of goes back into, not all these guys are warriors and not all the aircast they're not doing the war stuff necessarily.
You know how there was that Gothic Battlefield Gothic video game?
Yeah.
I wanted
Did you play it?
Yeah, I have it.
Oh, nice.
Great.
Okay.
I have the second one too. The second one's even better.
I was thinking about how I would build that game if I were to do it. And the way I was thinking about it is like I wanted each race to have their own way of fighting and not like just, oh, this is how their ships are and this is how their ships are. For example, I thought the Necron should be like devastating, like as in they're gonna win almost guaranteed, but there's a mechanic where if they don't win the battle in a certain amount of time, then half their fleet turns on themselves as like one of the other underlings says, oh, I could do this better, and tries to take over, or like one
That'd be the worst way to lose, but
no, but like that's part of the mechanic is that half your ships are going to switch sides if you don't do a certain thing in a certain amount of time, or you have weird mechanics. It'd be cool too if like the Tau, when their ships are going on, like they're going to be super fragile and they have to like skirt, like kind of doing a whole bunch of
kiting,
exactly that kind of a tactics. So like the way you play is lore based. I think that would be awesome. I know they never build a game that way because people are always about like gaming and like it being balanced, but it'd be super cool if that was the way, like especially the Necron. I just thought it'd be so cool. It's like if you don't win the battle quickly, half your army turns on you.
Like flares show up or something like that and just start
or like just literally, my half of my ships are now shooting at me as well. So now it becomes a 1v1v1.
Did you ever play like
the tabletop one?
Yeah, the tabletop or like Star Wars X-Wing or any of those kind of?
No, unfortunately Gothic was before I got into the hobby.
They're pretty cool. They had some cool kind of things. It was fun, like those games. They would have like turn tokens, so some ships had a turn radius that was pretty big. So when you're actually flying around, you had to like account for your turn. And if you turn off the board, you might get fucked, or you might try to turn and an asteroid comes in. And you're like, oh, my turn radius is not going to go into the asteroid. But like those kind of get. I
miss Battlefield. I wish they did that instead of Aeronautica.
Yeah,
because like Aeronautica, I didn't get it. It didn't seem like appealing to me. But if they put out Battlefield Gothic again, I'd be buying it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's jump into some escorts. The Kirkath Defender class starship represents the Tau's attempts to match the Imperial Navy's Sword class frigate, a key escort vessel in the Imperium's fleets. The Kirkath is the only dedicated escort in the Tau protection fleet, typically deployed in squadrons to provide close support for larger vessels. In battle, these ships form protective screens around the fleet's more vulnerable assets, using their weapons to engage smaller threats and intercept incoming fire. The Kirkath suffers from a significant drawback, however. Its phased warp drive requires lengthy recharge times. While it can execute multiple warp drives in quick succession, the drive then needs to cool down for an extended period, up to a full rot-a, before it can be used again. This limitation hampers its scouting capabilities, as the ship risks being stranded deep in the enemy space or unable to retreat if it exhausts its warp drives. As a result, the Kir'Kath class squadrons are strategically positioned throughout the Tau-controlled space, ready to reinforce heavier units when needed, but rarely serving as advanced scouts. The Skethquan class starship is the smallest fully self-sufficient vessel in the Tau fleet. Essentially a mobile drive unit attached to a modest cargo hold, its primary role is communications and data management. With sophisticated systems designed for transmitting strategic information across long distances, though it wasn't originally intended for combat, the Skethquan's capabilities have become adapted for battle. Its limited weaponry is intended for more defense than offense, making it a valuable support ship during fleet engagements. Typically, the Skethquan, I'm pretty sure I've said that different every single time, stays close to capital ships, assisting in countering enemy aircraft while relying on larger vessels for protection against warships.
This one's kind of neat. Like, you know, the Imperium, they have their Astropass for communications. These guys, they need like a big old communication relay ship, essentially.
Right.
Kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just antennas everywhere on that thing.
Yeah. I could see, like, I'm picturing, this gets me pumped for Battlefield Gothic, because I would love to play that so much. I just love the idea of the ships, and painting those up would be like, that would be awesome.
Yeah, with 3D printing, man, I bet you could get that going pretty good nowadays.
I do, but dude, 3D printing is like this close for me, but it's just, I still want like that. It'd be hard. It'd be taking a step back in quality still from what GW makes, and it's worth it for me still. But it's this close. It's this close.
Give it another couple years.
It'll be there. It'll be
I ordered a bunch of like 3D printed Lord of the Rings stuff, and like the chainmail on it was mind boggling. Like every link, you know, like that dude actually like linked that chainmail together. It's fucking crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's coming. It's gonna be there. Not too long, but still, if they made it next year, I'd buy it.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go to the Cassel, the Orca class gunship. It was created to serve as the Tau's fleet's first true escort vessel. Since the Tau lacked the technology to produce compact drive systems that could power an independent escort ship, the Cassel is carried into battle within a capital ship's gravitic sheath. Once deployed, however, the Cassel proves to be a formidable gunship, capable of holding its own against Imperial and Orc escorts of smaller size. Its versatility and firepower make it a mainstay of the Tau's fleet operations, bridging the gap between larger capital ships and smaller strike craft. Yeah, so a lot of their ships are just like inside other ships, and then they just all emerge. So I just imagine like you see, oh, that's not too bad. It's like 3 ships, and then they just open their hangars and just like
the swarms of drones that
millions of drones, and suits and other ships pop out of that ship, and just like
just turrets on everything.
It's pretty sweet. Okay, so I think it's the Kir'La, right? Because the Kir'La. This is a Warden class carrier escort. It's a small spacecraft that, like the Cassel, lacks a gravitic drive and must be transported in battle by gravitic hooks. The Kir'La is specifically designed to accompany the Or-S El Liath carrier, which is equipped with 3 gravitic hooks for this purpose. During the Taros campaign, 3 Kir'La vessels fought alongside their mothership, the Arho, providing critical escort duties. Though lightly armored compared to larger ships, the Kir'La excels in defensive roles, supporting the carrier with interceptive fire and screening against enemy fighters and torpedoes. The Kir-Shavesra class heavy escort is a gunship developed as part of the Tau Empire's Kor-Or-Vesh initiative. Reflecting the Empire's push for more robust and capable warships, the Kir-Shavesra is equipped with a gravitic launcher and powerful railgun battery, making it a match for the Imperium's Sword and Firestorm class frigates. During the Taros campaign, 20 Kir-Shavesra ships accompanied the Tau fleet, providing both firepower and durability in the thick of battle. These vessels have since become a cornerstone of the Tau fleet, offering a blend of speed, firepower, and resilience essential for modern naval warfare. Yeah, it gets me pumped because when you like talk about ships, it's like, okay, name I'm trying to put it in a class category. I know what like an Imperium frigate kind of looks like.
Sure.
I know what an Imperium battleship kind of looks like. So I'm like, okay, I can kind of attach idea, but
Yeah.
like the idea of like having like a battle between ships, like even a Tau Navy versus like an Imperium Navy, if that was the box that it would come out with, oh,
Yeah.
that'd be sweet.
Buy. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have a bunch of pictures of all the different types. I didn't want to match them all up, but we're cycling through some of the ships here. As you can see, they're all very sleek and like rounded edges, and their wings are usually like flipped up. A lot of them look like manta rays or stingrays in that kind of shape, kind of just.
Hence the fish comparison that we inappropriately gave them.
Oh, those poor. That's the ultimate
fish
racism,
people.
I think, in 40K. You know,
Is calling them fish?
calling a bunch of Tau aliens who are from a desert planet who have camel feet, fish people.
It's just
a
rude.
head scratcher.
It's just rude, and it's
rude.
Unnecessary, sir.
You can call them a commie, and you might be right or you might be wrong, but you can't call them fish. That's where we draw the line.
All right. So next, we're going to talk about their merchant fleet. So the Tau merchant fleet stands as the Empire's stalwart arm of commerce and trade, a vast armada of state-owned starships entrusted with the vital role of managing the Tau Empire's commercial endeavors across the stars.
I know you say state-owned, but everything is state-owned.
Yeah, in the unforgiving expanse of space, where pirate raids and incursions from rival stellar empires are ever-present threats, the merchant fleet's vessels are armed to the teeth. These ships, originally conceived for military purposes, have been repurposed for their current roles, but remain more than capable of defending themselves against even the most formidable opponents. Each starship in the fleet is a legacy of earlier military design, now assigned to civilian tasks, yet retaining its battle-hardened capabilities. Crewed exclusively by the aircast, these vessels continue to serve with the same discipline and skill that characterized their previous military engagements.
I don't know if you know this, Mark, but aircast aren't mechanics, right?
No,
But they just have drones and stuff doing all that work?
yeah, or they would have like Earth cast members on it, not air.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like,
So like they're crewed by aircast, but they might have like a detachment of earthcast running around.
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, the aircast are the ones piloting, and they might be manning the turrets and stuff and doing like the comms and doing stuff like that. But yeah, any like engine monitoring and stuff, they would definitely have the earthcast crew doing stuff.
I think that to answer Jax's question about who makes them, I'm pretty sure it's the earthcast. The aircast don't make the ships; they just pilot them.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess these sorry, excuse me. The merchant ships, I guess, are just the previous like military ships that are are now obsolete for war, but now are just, they're like, oh, you guys can use them now for
the galaxy is a dangerous place. You still want guns on your ships, even if they're just
like
patrol ships.
Not that the Eldar pirates would bother with because they have no souls, but but something else might try to steal your stuff.
There's a big galaxy full.
There
of
could be a rogue trader who just wants to steal your ship.
Yeah. I hear there's a Necron who just likes to capture people and put them in Pokemon balls. That could be you if you're not careful.
So in the dawn of the Tau Empire's spacefaring age, around the 39th millennium of the imperial calendar, there was little distinction between trade and conquest. The early Tau merchant ships were heavily fortified, a reflection of the Empire's rapid expansion and the ongoing conflicts with other galactic powers. These robust vessels played a crucial role in the Empire's meteoric rise from its homeworld. However, in the Damocles Crusade presented a harsh awakening. The Tau fleet's initial engagements with the Imperial Navy, particularly the devastating clash in the Haida system, revealed a stark reality. The Tau were ill-prepared to face the might of the ancient human empire on equal footing. Further trials, including a ferocious assault by a high fleet behemoth, underscored the limitations of the aircast's valorous but outgunned vessels. The Kor'vattra faced an urgent need to evolve, developing more advanced ships and refining its tactics. At the heart of this transformation were several groundbreaking classes of warships. The Ilpori class cruiser emerged as as a test bed for new design philosophies, followed by the formidable Kor'vattra escort and the mighty Ors El Leith class battleship, complemented.
Maybe people would play Town more if they could pronounce it.
Hey, what unit did you buy today? I bought the
Exactly.
Go back home.
Brutal. Kier Shasbra? Is that
correct.
that is
It's always right. Remember,
It's
first
always
pronunciation
right.
is always right.
Yeah. Remember, we're the big lore podcast. Whatever we say, the rest of the people, they
Yeah,
just
yeah.
believe it. They think we're talking canon. Meanwhile, this is all made up.
oh,
Hey,
boy.
don't say that.
This isn't real. Only Dad Hammer is real.
Lay Dad Hammer.
All right. So while these new vessels made their presence known to Imperial forces before the Taros campaign, it was this conflict that first showcased the full might of this new generation of Tau starships against the Imperium. And in the present day, the older Tau warships, having been reassigned to the merchant fleet, continue to serve with distinction. These ships, though slower, are still heavily armed and well defended, and they excel in their dual roles, safeguarding the Empire's interstellar commerce and engaging adversaries with their formidable arsenal of ordnance and torpedoes, all while relying on their advanced shields to maintain their integrity. Thus, the Tau merchant fleet stands as both a symbol of the Empire's commercial prowess and as a testament to its enduring capacity for defense in a galaxy fraught with peril.
Cool. Yeah, it's this twofold fleet. They got very clearly some aircast set of warriors, and then they got the majority of them that are using old gear, doing the trade routes, making sure Seps have food or technology or resources or whatever, and that's the vast majority of what the aircast are up to for sure. Is actually the merchant fleet more so than the protector fleet, but not as fun.
Yeah, we all want to be on the aircast battleships. Come on.
Yeah. You're delivering either are you the Uber Eats aircast guy, or are you delivering missiles? Which one's better?
Lower chance to die, but when it's all for the greater good,
It doesn't matter.
the pizza is equally contributing to the greater good.
It's equally as valuable as missiles.
That's right.
So orbitals and way stations. From the dawn of their interstellar ventures, the Tau have relied heavily on orbital stations, turning them into pivotal hubs in their quest to expand their reach and influence. The aircast, renowned for its mastery of the skies, was at the vanguard of this spacefaring leap, manning these orbitals with both pride and precision. These orbitals come in various forms and functions. Many serve as homes and hubs for the aircast, offering living quarters and facilities tailored to their unique needs. Others are dedicated to manufacturing and facilitating interstellar trade, acting as crucial nodes in the Tau's burgeoning economic network. Typically, these orbitals are not standalone. Instead, they are grouped into arrays of up to 5 interconnected units, forming complex and versatile stations that can handle a multitude of tasks. Scattered across the expanse of Tau space, the orbital way stations are essential fixtures that bridge the vast distances between Tau seps, the Empire's colony worlds. These stations are critical for maintaining swift and secure communications, as the Tau lack astropathic messengers, psyker-powered communication channels utilized by other races. Each way station is composed of a core orbital module, which houses the primary function of the station, and a security module, which ensures the station's protection from potential threats. Together, these way stations form a network of efficiency, enabling the Tau to manage and coordinate their far-flung territories with remarkable speed and reliability. All 7 of their far-flung territory.
Hey, it takes a lot of work. Okay?
It's a lot of work to coordinate 7 whole solar systems, okay?
You just try and do it, okay?
You just try and do it.
You need some substations as well. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Do you think this guy even likes the greater good?
I don't think so. I like the image of these like module orbital stations where it's like, okay, this one is a research station, so you put its core module, its security package, and then what other package are we going to toss on there? And you just kind of build these customizable little orbitals. It's a very cool concept.
Yep, like every space RTS ever.
How dare you? This is unique.
Nope.
They have a grand new vision, never once dreamed of by anyone else. Ever.
You're right. I apologize.
Up next, we got some drop ships and air support. I didn't do a lot of information on this one. I feel like, honestly, the drop ships and air support could be its own episode. I'll give you a couple of the highlights, but like I was going through
its own own episode.
Man, like
for drop ships.
And like,
are you kidding me? They have 7 systems. How many? What's so good about their drop ships?
Man, okay. Back in the day, GW made these sweet Forge World books called Imperial Armors, and what these Imperial Armors did is they like hyper detailed everything. So they put like, well, this is how much this spaceship actually weighs. This is how many rounds of ammo it has. This is all these technical specs. Cool. This is its engine, like all that kind of cool information. So
like essential guide.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
And like systematics where you can kind of like look open. Oh, here's the actual mechanical specs.
Oh, sweet.
So when you look at that, if you're into that like super hyper detail of like, now we know this thing actually goes 800 miles an hour. What do we do with this information? I don't know, but it's cool.
Those are super cool. I wish it'd be awesome if they did more of those.
Yeah.
I feel like the tone of 40K, like of Games Workshop towards 40K, has gone away from that like hyper nerd.
It's hard to do that, man. Like,
it's a lot of work too, and make sure that it's like consistent with everything.
Exactly. Actually specing a fictional starship is probably like the worst because you get one thing wrong and then everyone is like, "Oh, that can't go there. That has to go here."
All the haters can just send their complaints to James. Because if you write it in your James Workshop, that's right. There you go. If you write it in your Games Workshop, it's true. It's canon.
It's canon. Unless it's female custodes, in which case it's just straight up wrong.
JamesWorkshop@gmail.com.
Drop ships. We'll go over some of these real quick. The Manta drop ship. This is the Tau Super Heavy Lander. Stands as a colossal leviathan in the skies, a missile destroyer of titanic proportions, echoing the grandeur of the Imperial Titan in its role. This behemoth is unparalleled in its capacity to support ground assaults, boasting the largest dropship configuration in the Tau arsenal. The Manta delivers vast contingents of firecast warriors into the fray, accompanied by a formidable array of gun drones and a formidable XV8 crisis battlesuits. This thing carries like 4 tanks, 9 crisis battlesuits, like 50 fire warriors. When we did the Eternal Horizon campaign,
that's right.
Yeah, that's where we were flying. Which is funny. Somebody mentioned your character's name, Rio. So,
really?
Yeah, they're like, is that Ori from the
Eternal
Horizon?
I'm like, I must have missed that.
Chad, how did you recognize his voice? But good on you, Chad. Well done.
I think it's excellent that this thing actually has a model.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
Yeah, it weighs 50 pounds of resin. It's nice.
Is it worth the $4,000 that it costs to buy?
Well,
tough to say.
I won't tell you how to live your life, but I will tell you this. It does come with 4 Hammerhead tanks, 48 fireworks, 9 crisis suits. So not only are you getting the Manta, you're also getting all of that. Worth it?
Dude,
is it actually $4,000?
I think it's 3.
It's 3. Either way, it is kind of awesome that it just exists.
Yeah.
Like even if they did it just as a meme and like expected to sell none of them, but just like
box?
It's huge. It's huge.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a little
We're
tower.
looking at it right now. Yeah,
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Do you have an image of it in the?
I don't know if I put one in there. Like I said, Google Images is a godsend.
Yeah.
You can look at my shitty Google Images that I don't even adjust sizes.
Just throws them in there like an animal.
Yeah, I don't even label them.
No, but this model is super awesome, and it just like you get it. I think
like
my favorite part of why it's like why I love it so much is that it gives you a sense of the scale of the thing. It is like a battlefield-sized plane.
Yeah.
And for somebody to use it in a game would be incredible. Like, I don't even know. It's like putting a Warlord Titan on the table. Like, what the heck is this?
The crazy thing about this thing, too, is it just kind of hovers in spot. It can hover in spot, or you can zoom it across the battlefield too if you want. You can fly it around and actually move the damn
Dude,
thing.
it can't even fit in your deployment zone. It doesn't fit on the table.
Needs its own special rules just to deploy. There's a bunch of information on that. It's one of the coolest things. Like I said, I think we should just do an episode on these fleets. I'm going to name off some ships: the Orca drop ship, the Barracuda, the Razor Shark, the Sun Shark, the Tiger Shark, and the Remora drone fighter. They all have a bunch of different roles and purposes. Like I said, we'll come back to it soon. TM. We'll be back to our sweet Cowboys and their cool tech eventually.
Cool. Let's just jump into some of the ships that end up joining the Tau on their adventures from the auxiliary species. So the Kroot have a warp sphere. It's a Kroot ship.
War sphere. This one we have to get
War
correct.
sphere. I'm sorry. It is a war sphere.
James complaints.
Yeah.
James Workshop @gmail.com.
No, don't confuse them. Okay, that's just
there's
another
two now.
complaint.
There's two now.
Oh, we're growing more powerful.
James Workshop.
A war sphere is a Kroot spaceship which serves as both a mobile town and a war vessel. They are the last vestige of the power and advancement of the Kroot prior to their move away from technology. Each war sphere resembles two ringed city domes cut from a planet's surface and welded on either side of a massive spindle.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Pretty cool ship.
Insane.
Yeah.
They can do that, but they can't sew pants.
No fan.
Priorities, man. Priorities. You don't understand. You would never understand.
The Niskar. The Niskar Dehose.
Dows?
That's the name of their ship, the Dehose.
They're small, elegant yachts that are propelled not by engines, but by their captain's formidable psychic abilities. They possess incredible maneuverability and, when upgraded with Tau weapons, pretty decent firepower. However, they are somewhat slow for escort-sized ships, and they lack interstellar drives, meaning that they are like the Castle. They must be toned into battle with gravitic hooks. Then we have the Demiurge. The Stronghold-class commerce vessels is a small vessel of the fleets of Demiurge. They are nonetheless well-powered, large, and technologically advanced. These ships are factories of ore processing vessels and are often bases with which are where they move between systems and asteroid belts, grabbing resources. They're also bases for a fleet of intersystem asteroid mining pods, haul flyers, and prospector probes. It is theorized that many of these are automated. But who knows?
Who knows?
No one's ever been on one.
Yeah, like the Demiurge now fill a very interesting niche of, are they retconned? Are they now lumped into the Leagues of Votan? When I was reading this and writing some stuff on them, like it could go either way. This ship looks like it has been changed into a Leagues of Votan ship, technically.
Oh, interesting.
But,
and so these might be like Votan that work with the greater good?
Yeah. Because
interesting.
Yeah, the Demiurge were supposed to be like some type of space dwarf type thing.
Sure.
After the squats, once the squats kind of got away, they tried to do something with the Demiurge and never really went anywhere. And then they did the
Interesting.
Votan.
I just like how they fit in a Gnostic Christian term into
Which one?
Demiurge.
Oh,
Demiurge is a Gnostic Christian term for it's a whole mythos, but people look it up if you're interested.
But
So what is it?
Yeah.
So the Demiurge are the real
the real Jews.
No. The real
Sorry.
The
Warhammer
real-
legal. My bad.
the real enemies of humanity.
Oh, Mark.
Oh no! Just
Yeah.
my bad.
Inadvertently racist.
Yeah. No. In the Christian Gnostic mythos, they're like the true enemies of humanity. Anyway, yeah,
Fun to know.
Games Workshop sneaks a lot of different religious mythos into, like Council of Nicaea, or they call it Nicaea. Is how I hear it pronounced for the lore, but it's actually Nicaea, which is the famous where they put the Bible together.
Yeah, kind of canonized.
Yeah, where they canonized the Bible exactly was the Council of Nicaea. So they have a
There's
council.
no
too.
soft C's in Latin, so it would be Nicaea either way.
Okay, fair.
The
Or was it
hottest take
Greek?
of them
No, it
all,
wouldn't have
though.
been Latin. No, it would have been Greek.
What do you think about this? The Emperor Satan. Or is that
Yeah. Oh,
You want
well,
to
he's
do
a
it.
dick for sure. Like,
We'll have to do a bonus episode.
Yeah. Okay. Fun
Interesting though, yeah.
Fun fact: Akin of Votan did join the greater good. Yeah. So who knows where this demiurge fit. The other thing about all there's we kind of mentioned earlier, there's a bunch of minor Xenos that have allied themselves with the Tau. They might need an episode 2 eventually because there's a lot of them. There's like 25. And I know we've kind of dived in multiple times, but
I thought you
we've
guys
gone with
covered
both
them.
feet.
Though.
we have, but like it looked like there's a bunch of new ones. And even
Oh, is there? Nice.
even in the 2 years that we've been gone, man, the amount of information that's come out on just every topic that
That's
seemed to have
awesome.
opened up,
That is cool.
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So, everything could use another little loving caress, but not
Well, just from a different angle. Do the same.
different angle, yeah. Underneath the, but yeah, that's kind of the Tau fleet. They got a lot of different things, a lot of cool technology. The plot hole, like we said 1,000 times, it sucks that they just can't go anywhere. They got all this cool shit, but they can't show it off.
Well, if the Tau were able to, it would kind of ruin their lore. So, like, I hear what you're saying, but if they were able to travel everywhere, then what would they be? They'd be an integral, like they'd be the biggest empire, and then it would kind of, I don't know, defeat their whole
Yeah, like
purpose.
their whole concept is like the new, the upstart, the young. So it's like to make,
If they make them intergalactic, then it just feels, it defeats their whole vibe.
So the third option that we've yet to discuss is just get rid of them entirely.
Yeah. I mean,
Just fuck them. Gone from the range.
yep. Redcon.
Retcon.
Retcon.
Yeah. I think my favorite image in this whole episode, I think, is just the battle suits and just that kind of image of them jumping out of the ship, landing in blasting holes, bodies are getting sucked out of the holes that they're shooting into the ship. Like, yeah, just space combat is a fucking wild thing.
Yeah, for me, I just picturing the different ships and imagining what a game of Battlefleet Gothic would look like with
Heck
them
yeah.
on it would be so
It would
awesome.
be sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Were they in the original game?
No.
I don't think they were.
No, definitely not.
Like,
Yeah, I
mean, the-
wonder
the
if there was like
tabletop
an
Battlefield
expansion that came out because they
I remember because they had Chaos for sure.
Yeah.
They had Imperium, obviously. I think they had Necron
Yeah, and orcs.
and Orcs. Yeah.
and they
But-
probably had Eldar too when
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Eldar
And
were
Eldar.
there.
Yes. Oh, I could be wrong about orcs. Maybe it was Eldar.
But I don't think that Mechanicum wasn't really as much of a thing back then either. And Tau were pretty old, but I don't remember them being in Gothic. So
I did a quick little Google image search. They have minis, but who knows when those were?
Yeah.
They could be 3D printed, whatever. I don't
This is
recall
from
them.
the game too. That's
Yeah,
not
that
even
is
real.
graphics, not
Yeah.
miniatures for
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah,
they have
it
some of
is
that.
sweet.
I hope
But I
they
do
do make
recall-
another Gothic. I think that'd be sweet. And I'm just picturing all these ships and doing like
I didn't
how they
even know it was
play.
out of like print now. I didn't.
Oh
even,
yeah, for like
a decade.
yeah.
'Cause I
No, but it-
loved it back in the day. I thought it was sick, and I had no idea.
I like the boards you can set up too, where you can set up like meteor belts or like smoke clouds or whatever. You
Yeah.
set up
Yeah,
different
nebula.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nebulas
nebulas,
where it's like, okay, if you get close to this, you get sucked into it. So now
Yeah.
your turning radius is double or whatever.
But I mean, you
like,
could
Dude,
just
that's
play
so
it.
sweet.
Yeah.
You could just play it on PC with like your friends, anyways.
we're
and
minis guys here.
Yeah,
I know, but it's
I want to. Yeah, I want the minis. I want to paint it. I want
fair.
it to.
it in my hand.
Dude, that's so awesome too, because that was the way Games Workshop built games back in the day. Was with like, oh yeah, you go closer to the planet, your turning radius will go up.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, they had
That's awesome.
yeah, a lot more complications and rules, and like that can be fun if you're playing it for sure. Because
But
you get
it-
those cool moments.
It would be a simpler, since it's like you're going to only have like maybe 10 models
That's true.
total on the board.
Yeah.
You can have. I'm okay with having more. Like
Yeah.
when you're doing a 40K game and you have like each side has 200 models, then it's like, okay, I can't handle complication for all of this. But if you only have 5 models that you have to
Yeah.
keep track of,
Right.
complication is fun then, because
Yeah.
then the variability of how you play it comes from the
yeah, for
rules.
sure.
Okay.
Oh, dude,
So
I'd be in
so-
so hard.
okay, so what you got to pick one or the other. Would you rather do Battlefield Gothic minis or that Adeptus Mechanicus where you're playing the miniature knights and warlords and battle and all that?
Dude, I
And
want to get Titanicus too.
Okay.
But I only have so
I'm
much
talking
money.
to the wrong guy. Hey, do you want to do some Warhammer? Son of a bitch, I'm in. Yeah.
Dude, it looks. I've seen it played though. And it's
Yeah.
awesome. You can play huge battles with
Yeah.
so few with like.
So that's that newer thing. I
Yeah, it's
don't
epic
know
scale.
about it. Yeah, okay.
So it's like you
They're
have a
mini
squad
minis,
of
yeah.
Astartes as one unit.
Yeah,
and like
that's
you
sick.
play with like a couple Warlord Titans on
Yeah.
the table. Oh, dude, if I had enough
That's cool.
time/money to do it, I would be so in for that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds fun though. That one, like you can like
Oh, yeah,
rev
there
up
it is.
your engine, so then you can put more power to your Nova cannon or to your shield,
Oh,
or
yeah.
just whatever. Those kind of like micro management details are could be super fun.
Yeah. Sweet.
I don't know. Fuck the Tau. You want to hear some closing thoughts?
Yeah, dude.
The Tau stands as a beacon of the Tau Empire, technological prowess and strategic foresight, embodying their commitment to both exploration and defense. As a formidable force in the galaxy, it combines advanced ship design with discipline and innovative approach to war. Discipline? Whether through the versatile Barracudas or Razor Sharks or the mighty Orles Laflus class battleship, the Tau Navy continuously adapts and evolves, reflecting the Empire's unyielding drive toward the greater good. Each vessel, from the smallest drone to the largest capital ship, plays a vital role in securing and expanding the Tau's influence across the stars, ensuring their place among the most sophisticated and formidable fleets in the galaxy. Yeah, they're cool. Like I said, I think my favorite thing is just battlesuits, man. Jumping out battlesuits or drone technology.
Yeah.
Railguns are sweet.
Yeah.
Always a fan.
Yep.
Crude are pretty cool.
Crew, yeah, it's crazy that Crew have like warp-capable craft. I've always wondered that. Like, why did the Tau not? Like,
Yeah.
Dude, we already discussed this.
oh yeah,
They can't do it.
They can't.
Otherwise, it just defeats them.
Yeah.
Get it out of here.
get it out of here. Okay, we'll just keep making up more minor Xenos to give them so they can be warp adjacent, I guess.
Do the Vespid have ships?
Yeah, they do. They're
Jackson
called
Master?
like stalactites or something, and basically, yeah, picture like kind of giant
Really?
stalactite. Yeah, and
Oh,
like
weird.
so the Vespid are like bugs.
Yeah, I remember them actually.
Yeah, so kind of think like them making a wasp nest, but like a
Oh,
ship, you
that's
know,
wild.
like where they're kind of regurgitating their ship almost.
So it's
and,
like a bio ship.
almost, yeah. And then its
Interesting.
shape is like a stalactite.
It's actually
That's
kinda
cool.
Yeah.
I was going to include that one, but like I said, I think we need to do an episode again on
On the
some of
minor
these things,
Xenos,
whether
yeah.
it's like we talk about the races and space combat or like whatever, but there's a lot more there.
Yeah, because I assume they're going to get some new lore. Adam just mentioned that they're going in that new Kill Team box. So
Oh,
I assume
yeah.
that the Vespid are going to get a whole bunch of new lore.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Even Kroot got a kill team box since Lorehammer.
Yeah,
So like, you know, that's a whole new schwack of lore right
yeah,
there.
because they have a whole new they have like a new detachment that they use for rules, so they have their own way of playing now.
Yeah.
So you could just do a whole Crude army,
Yeah.
which is something that you couldn't do before, but now is like
Getting closer
That's
for
cool.
sure.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be good, but you'd
Yeah.
it's never good.
never get.
But yeah, that's probably my favorite potential for the Tau though, is just to bring in more minor sort of Xenos
Yeah.
just into the mix. I think it'll just add that color that they kind of need, and depth.
Yeah, I've always
Yeah.
liked that stark contrast of like the Tau sleek, clean white panels next to like, you know, some savage bug creature or the Kroot cover.
Stalactite.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, where it's just that
or some
dichotomy or
bugs
whatever.
flying around.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Cool. Well, I think that's this episode. For those hanging with us, don't forget to check back on the Discord. We're doing a Dad Hammer app after this, so
Yeah,
come
man.
check, find the link. Yeah, let's give some shout outs. Lorehammer listener lore. I'm still doing that. I'm almost at 200 episodes. I think my next big goal on that is we're doing the Warlords event. So I'm going to be reading out all the Warlords kind of lore, battling them off. I think we're down to the last 5 of the 20. So that should be pretty
Nice.
fun to do.
Nice.
So go check out Lorehammer listener lore. It's a separate podcast. James Complaints.
JamesComplaints@gmail.com. I didn't get one this week. So you know what that means?
What does it mean?
I have done nothing wrong.
Whoa!
I made no
Somebody might
mistake.
complain about that. He's making shit up.
Listen, we'll get so many
JamesWorkshop@gmail.com.
we'll get so many complaints from this Tau episode, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We just dumped on the Tau
Yeah.
for 2 hours. But yeah, no. jamescomplaints@gmail.com. I got no complaints this week, so that means I did everything perfectly. You are in complete agreement with everything I say.
Complete 100%.
And I'm the perfect presenter of Warhammer lore. So
you are Lorehammer now. I've been told that by many. Yes.
cool.
No, hey, if you want to support the show, don't forget to go to Patreon. You can watch the live stream. You can. Oh man, we haven't done call-ins yet. If anyone on the chat wants to call in, shoot me a message or post in the comment right now. Maybe we'll linger for a hot second if I get something real quick.
Here, I can throw it right. I can throw the invite right in the chat.
Yeah, if somebody joins real quick, I'm gonna read out the Patreon names. We got Lorehor, Grower, not a shower. Viper 13.
No, that's grower, not a shower.
Oh, not.
Which is even funnier.
I don't know if I like that. Joshua, James, and Artemis 3. Thank you all so much. Our Patreon number is going up. We're making a little bit more. We have some goals. I've been talking to the boys, like, what's it cost to buy more of your time? So we're in discussions of we need to make some Patreon tier goals and reach some categories. Maybe $1,000 we do another episode a week. I'm not promising anything, but just know we're kind of working on it. We want to do more, but that all comes from just making time, and that comes from donating money. So if you got any money, throw it our way. All right, it looks like we got Jax, maybe, hopefully.
I'm throwing him in.
Throw him in here. Give it to us raw and wiggling.
Hello guys, how's it going?
All right, we're gonna have to. The problem is that no one's gonna be able to hear him
headphones.
because no one's got headphones on. I'll hear him.
Yeah, let's.
What's up, James/Jax?
Not bad. You guys?
We're good. Put on some headphones. You can do it.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
James Jackson.
So what'd you think of the Tau? Tell me what you thought about the Tau episode. Is the Tau
Man,
Navy?
I love Tau,
for you?
but yes, definitely. I was about to ask. I had a few questions here though, just like a few Tau questions. So the Tau, right? They got like the best ships. Well, some of the best ships. How many ships do you think it would take for the Imperium to destroy like one Tau ship? Or like if it was a 1v1 against your average
depends on the
Imperium ship
class,
versus your
right?
average.
I think most of them are
Uh,
pretty evenly matched, though. Like, the Tau, they've seen that, the Imperium are making these cruiser style ones, so they make the equivalent. I don't imagine they'd expect them to be slightly better, or at least try to, but maybe they're just different, slightly different, and not necessarily better. But they're definitely like tiered to be equivalent. That it could go either way in my mind.
I also think it would depend on what manner are they meeting in, because like
Sure.
if because like the Imperium ships are kind of designed to be like that kind of navy, old school navy from like the Napoleonic era broadsiding with all their rockets. Is it a ambush, or is it like a straight up fight, like they know they're there? Because I'd give it probably to I think the Imperium ship might have a little bit of advantage in an open fight, but I feel like the Tau would probably be able to ambush a little bit better, be a little more
so like
maneuverable,
if it's like they're going head to head, would give it to the Imperium. It's got the heavier shielding in the front, but if the Tau get that drop, then it's theirs.
Okay. Another question I had was the Tau tech jump. Basically just on the Unity and stuff, or like if they stole it. Basically what I'm asking, if the Tau were somehow more unified than they already are, somehow, like if they all become just one collective hive mind like the Tyranids, do you think like they would just progress so much that they'd like discover warp or figure out the warp, how to do it safely?
I don't think so.
How to traverse it safely.
I don't think so. The Tau are they're not gonna hive mind, because part of the reason the hive mind in the Tyranids works is that they create one consciousness when they put together. But if you just like connected all the Tau's brains, it just mean they could talk faster. I don't think it'd actually like connect to make them smarter.
Also, I think there is a cap on technology levels. I think you can only get so technologically advanced before
you need like warp tech stuff to make things.
Before
better.
it's that next, like now you're incorporating magic, and at that point, then what are we talking about?
Yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense. Why did the Emperor need the warp to create the Primarchs? Because they couldn't do it with just science.
There's
like
there's definitely a limit. So like, even if the whole Tau united, they're still just that upper limit. And how close they are to that, it's hard to say. But
I mean, the Necron always throw a little bit of a wrinkle in that, but they also literally had gods working with
Exactly.
them, so maybe that breaks that too.
Yeah. Good question.
All right.
Very interesting question.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, James. / James.
Also, last my last bit of piece here. If they gave Vespid environmental suits and just chucked them out into space, and the idea is just like throw environmental suits on Vespid, chuck them out, let them go ham.
So Vespid, environmental suits. Now maybe this is like their guns require some type of like frequency where their flapping of their wings activate the crystals in their guns. More just pseudoscience nonsense.
That might be not anymore, because I think the new squad has them holding pulse guns.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, so maybe we have to wait. But if that's kind of the concept of, okay, so you put them in environmental suits now, do their wings still submit or create that frequency?
Sure.
Or does the fabric on their wings now muffle it somehow, would be my thought.
Yeah,
that's just up to your own science interpretation in my mind, though.
Yeah.
But great questions. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Right, see you, James.
We gotta go. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a fun episode. Thanks everyone for joining. Like I said, we're doing a Dad Hammer. Look for a link in the Discord. Get involved. Donate on Patreon. If not, we'll see you all next week. I think on the next live stream. Thanks, boys, for joining.
See ya.
Thanks for having me.
Peace.